In the spirit of this spiritual event, I would, okay, I would like to invite my brother Lawrence. Come, please. My brother Lawrence is a Jew from Israel, and today we want to make a special emphasis on the role of peace. Peace is not between your friends. Peace is between you and those you have disagreement with. And I would like to invite him to have the honor to light a candle for peace to commence this symposium. Please come and join me. This side and light it. So, with lighting the candle, we shall declare the symposium is open. This light is for peace. Thank you. At the same time, I would like to invite Her Excellency Duchess Naveen Al Gamal from Egypt. She's the Queen of Hearts. She has done so much for charity, specifically for children who have challenging issues with their defense mechanism. May I kindly ask you to light the second candle, please? There is so much to do, and at the moment we have a very prominent professor who has saved the lives of millions of our humanity. There is a verse in the Quran that says, if you give life to one soul, it's like you have revived whole humanity. Let me check with Engineer Raymond. Are we linked with United States of America, with Georgia?
I don't see him online.
Okay. As you know, whenever there is a conference, usually something goes wrong with the IT sector. I am an old-fashioned person. I can hardly process my personal iPhone. But what I will do is I will try to send him an email. Is it now 5 o'clock London time?
Yeah.
Okay, he's due on for 5:05, so let me just remind him again. Okay. I shall wait for a few minutes. However, because I am honored to have a distinguished Reiki master among us, and I'm sure she would not be offended if somewhere during your deliberation I curtail to allow the professor to speak. So please come along, Dr. Fitini, and inspire us with your vision. Thank you. Please show a round of applause to Dr. Fitini.
Now we need computer. I'm supposed to be the fifth in the number, so now we can fix it. Yeah, no. Thank you. He's so kind. Thank you so much. Oops.
I'll move this a bit.
Yeah, it's okay. Very kind of you. Thank you.
Let me just...
Amazing. Amazing technician.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Good afternoon, good evening, and may God bless all of you, your families. Happy New Year, and whatever you wish, it will come to you. I wish you in many, many more times. Today, I will present you a subject, interfaith analysis and perspective. Where is my technician? It doesn't go. Okay. So the estimated number of the different religions in the world are approximately 4,200. It's a religious, different churches, a different direction, and different local groups, etc., etc. There are very many. It doesn't go somehow. I think it doesn't go. Doesn't go. Yeah, you have to stay here. Okay, so here you see the global population share. In this picture, what you see is that actually all religion divided, let's say, into groups. One group is they base their religion, their belief on the holy scriptures, on the holy books, and holy notes and messages sent by God. And other group is those who has their religions based on the philosophy, on the meditation, on the tradition, on the culture. So here in this round, you see both. For example, Christianity, Muslims, and Jew, they based on the messages from the God. We have also Hindu and unaffiliated. It's usually people who don't believe or who doesn't have a particular direction in their belief. Folks, for example, the religions are those who have a very local traditional character, and of course, Buddhism. Here I had the idea to present you in the tree all these different religion directions. So on the left part, you see those religions which are based on the messages from the God, which are based on the Holy Spirit, on the Holy Book, which is Bible, on Torah, on Old Testament, New Testament, and Quran. So this is on the left. On the right, that's all those others, as we said, which they don't base their religion or their belief, their faith on the particular messages from God. Why it's very important now to look at this? Because actual approach of God to us is, I would say, holistic. He tried to send to us different messages in different languages, in Jewish languages, in Greek messages, in the Greek languages, in Arabic languages, and in all his messages, he tried to explain again and again about him, about other important messages to us. For example, we have now 10 Commandments. This is the first messages which coming to the humanity from our Creator. Ten Commandments is what's given to Moses. It's like Decalogue. It says Decalogue from Greek language. Deca means 10. Logos means words or tense communications. Decalogue. Also law of Moses. In total, it was 618 commandments which are given to Jew people through the God Creator. Also now we need to see a Holy Bible. This is a very interesting part. Holy Bible consists of the Old Testament and the New Testament. So approximately this part is Old Testament, the rest is the New Testament. Not many people who follows, let's say, Torah and Jewish religion, maybe they not have clear idea that actually Torah is the very first 5 chapters of the Holy Bible. Holy Bible, Bible means from Greek biblio, biblio means a book. So the Holy Book, the first part of the Holy Bible, which is supposed to be, people believe that it's Christians kind of approach and Christian book. No, it's a holistic actually. The first one, it's Torah. This is very important. That's why I also invite all those who follow the Jewish Judaism to continue, not to stay only on Torah. It's only 5 books and other, actually 24 books, to continue to read the whole Bible, because it's actually coming from the same God, Old Testament. Also to continue to read New Testament. The New Testament is when Jesus came. It's also a part of the Bible. So the New Testament, it consists of these kind of messages from Jesus and messages from apostles, and also it's from the Apocalypse of St. John. Why I'm saying this? Why it's very important? To understand that all these messages of God, it's our personal letters of God to us, to me, to you, to you, to you. It's a personal letters. God wants to communicate with us. God wants to remind us where we come from. We come from Him and we go back to Him. Our destiny, actually, it's a paradise. It's a heaven. So heaven has been created for all of us, but not all of us, unfortunately, will go to heaven. There are some technical specifications, some requirements, and this is what our Creator wants to communicate with us. After Bible, after the Holy Book, what we say, God again sent to us another messenger. By the way, all messengers during the humanity, they are prophets. But remember, not all prophets were messengers. It's also quite distinguished. So after the Bible, which says Torah and Old Testament and New Testament and Apocalypse, it came with the Quran. Quran, it's actually from Arabic, it's translated like a reading book. Again, holy book. Holy book, this one, holy book from the same God Creator. And another fantastic thing, when I read it first time from the Quran, I was amazed that more than 50% of Quran, even more than 65% of Quran, mention about everything which God gave us in the Holy Book. It mentioned in Torah, it mentioned in Old Testament, it mentioned in New Testament. So actually the part of the Quran, more than 50%, it's exactly the same what is written here, but it's in more explanation. Why it's more explanation? It's like arithmetic. It started simple. Then according to the humanity that time, according to the awareness, it was more explanation, more kind of detail. Then it was even more. Then it was a new explanation with Jesus, and then it was with Muhammad. So I invite everyone to read not only just, let's say, Quran, and don't read this, or to read the Bible, not to read Quran. They're all coming like mathematics from 0 point until the high degree informations from God. And you will be completely amazed if you will read before how easy to understand Quran, because it's so much details. I also invite now all those who doesn't believe to God, doesn't believe to messages. If there are poets, read Quran in Arabic. It's the best ever written poems book by humanity. If you're a doctor, read Quran and read also the New Testament. Why? Because it's so many details, even for the anthropologist, how the human being has been created. If, for example, you're dealing with the universe, it's many information. If you're a mathematician, it's many information for all professions. It's absolutely amazing, amazing information. So coming further, after the Ten Commandments, we see the Holy Bible, which already explained that it's actually Holy Bible. It's Old Testament, which is Hebrew Bible. It's called Hebrew Bible here inside. And also it's Aramaic and Aramaic languages. You see, God, he was approaching us with different languages from different parts. It was completely like so holistic approach to us. So we have also here, we say the Hebrew Bible and also New Testament. Okay, Quran. Those who follow Muslims or non-Muslims who follow Islam are more than welcome you. Read. Please study the previous books. The previous books, the previous information, which Allah, in Quran we say Allah. For example, in Old Testament it was another name. It was Sabaoth. In New Testament we used to say our Creator as a Father. So we have Father, Sabaoth, and Allah. I invite all of you, please read the previous messages of God. And then you will understand and you will appreciate every surah which written in Quran. Every precious information. Now, why the God Creator sent messages to humanity? Why? Why he sent these messages to me? Why he sent to you? Why he sent to you? Because, first of all, he wants to give us a truth about him. Who is he? He's invisible. We see his practice, but he's invisible. About him. About his love for us and how merciful he is. About the eternal life after death. Not many people believe to that, but some doctors who had the patients who come back from the other side, they started to believe to that. Also about the straight path. Straight path to whom? To God. Straight path to where? To paradise. And what is the paradise? It was our terminal station. It's terminal station of our soul. We have to go there. It's waiting for us. But can you imagine paradise to be empty without us? What is the paradise being empty? It's waiting for us. It's our happy land. But for that now, it was firstly granted, but now it's not granted. Now we need to try for that. And that's why it's all of this information, how to be in straight path to the God, not deviate, because also there is other side, the evil side. About also the day of judgment and the final destination, I was absolutely shocked and amazed how detailed was description of the day of judgment in Quran. It was also mentioned in the Bible, but not so detailed. So much that it was just obvious. You can see like video. It's very important. And also there's heaven for everyone, but not everyone is for heaven. Now, question. Why we have so many religions? Why? We have one God, two books, and so many religions. Even in Christianity, there is more than 2,500 different directions of the Christianity. One Bible, one God, 2,500 directions. Why? I try to collect here ignorance, lack of knowledge, misinterpretation, misleading, fears, politics. Politics. Now what we see now, politics. Power, resources, ethnic revivals, economic competition. Ignorance. I just would like to say a few words about ignorance. How it could be dangerous for themselves. Those who, for example, burn Bible in the name of Allah, they think that they do good thing in the name of Allah, the burning Bible. But because of the ignorance, they don't know that in Quran, 65% mentioned about Bible. So when they burn Bible, actually they burn 65% of Quran in the name of Allah. Do they know that Allah will be not happy with that? Because it's His holy scriptures. It's ignorance. It's ignorance. Another, for example, lack of knowledge and misinterpretation. Misinterpretation is very easy somehow to slip to the misinterpretation if somebody read it just sectorial. For example, if somebody will read only Quran before reading the Bible. It's like to go to the 5th level of the mathematics without passing the 1, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. It will be many confusions, many misunderstandings, and many misinterpretations. Now, what are the main messages of God Creator? Through all of these amazing personal letters to us, to me, to you, the main messages are God is the only one, and He is the creator of the universe. Everything comes from God, and everything will return back to Him. God knows everything about everything in every moment. This is absolutely SOS to understand. He is present. He knows everything. Love, love your only God and believe to Him. This is another misinterpretation. There are religions who believe to 12 gods, to 3 gods, to 1,000 gods, and He always say, I am alone, I'm one. This is very important. Why it's very important? Because on the day of judgment, what is written in Holy Scriptures, those who doesn't believe to Him, or those who doesn't believe that He is one, they will be not in the best position. It's very important to understand. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. It's very, sometimes we say, we can love, but how we can forgive? You see, forgive is more difficult than to love, but forgiveness is coming before love. So I remember in my time, I was thinking, how can I forgive him? And then I realized, if I expect God to forgive me, then who am I not to forgive Him? Because He also loved and beloved child of God. And of course, repent, ask for forgiveness, correct your mistakes, and do good things. Why this is important? It's very interesting. In Holy Bible, or in another also different religious directions, they say, okay, you do sin, but God He is merciful, just ask forgiveness, and that's it. It was before Quran. But in Quran, it explicitly says, it is not enough. To ask forgiveness, it's not enough. Oh, really? What else? Number 2, we need to repair what we did, if we can to repair. And number 3, from that moment, we need to do things, good things. So it's 3 conditions when we want really to ask for forgiveness. To understand, to ask forgiveness, to repair, and from now on to do good things, to be a good person. Now, Now, another thing which I want to present you is the death. The soul coming, it's actually alive after the death. This photo which you see on the left, it's scientifically the very first time in the humanity when the soul had been captured with a video camera. It is a special video camera created by Russian scientist Korotkov. I used to have his camera, and I still have it, which he do the aura reading with the energies. But it's usually the print of our hands. Then he created another Korotkov camera, which is actually videoing different energy movement. And it was just on that moment when this man died, may God bless him, and his soul was departing from his body, and it was captured by the camera, scientifically proved the existence of the soul. And then it's like tunnel, etc. I spoke with many people, not many, but few people who had actually returned back from that side. And they all say that there is something like channel, like vacuuming, where they go on the other side. And from that side, they used to say to them, you are not yet, it's not time for you, go back. Now, the Day of Judgment. The Day of Judgment, as I said, it's explicitly mentioned in the holy books, in Quran and also in the Bible. The Day of Judgment actually, in our terms, it's 1,000 days. It's also said that one day, our day, is actually 1,000 good day. It will be, in this day, very interesting thing, the details which you can read in the Holy Scriptures. They will give us the book, which we will read all what we did, all what we thought, or what we thought. If they will give you on the right side, on the right hand, then it's good. It's heavy because you did a lot of good things. If they'll give you this book on the left hand, it's very little good things, so it will be not good position for you in terms of go paradise or the hell. So of course, after the judgment, there is only two ways. Attention. Either to heaven, to paradise, or to hell. There is no in between. Either white or black. There is no gray zone. We cannot escape. So be prepared from now just to be there. It's also some nice photos about paradise, about hell, many details in these books, many details. Now question. This question I'm actually asking to those who just choose not to follow the Holy Scripture of the God. I would invite them to ask a question. What if God Creator exists? If He exists, imagine 1% that He exists. 99% He doesn't believe. What we say in mathematics, in statistics, if 1% will become true, then 1% become 100%. So never devaluate 1%. If God exists and you don't believe, one day you will see Him. Then it's too late to ask forgiveness. It's also written there. Too late on the day of judgment to ask forgiveness. And on that day, there is no parents who can justify and can help the children. If there are no children which can help the parents. It will be very individual. Our birth is individual. Our death is individual. The day of judgment will be also individual. Another one. What if hell and paradise exist? Again, just possibility. 1%. If it exists, then it's 100%. And then, is it worth to risk? I spoke the other day to a very, very scientific person who doesn't believe to God. I said, look, is it really worth it to deny something which may happen? Now, there is a prayer which I wrote, which can be used, and I'm sharing with you. My Creator. You see, I usually prefer to say Creator, not God, especially for those who doesn't like the word God. My Creator, I ask you to lead me on the straight path, and on the day of judgment, put the book on my life, put the book of my life in my right hand, whiten my face, cleanse me, and let me to come into your kingdom of heaven. This is exactly the procedure, how it's explained in holy books. And now, question. What do you think God desires for us in terms of interfaith? We are always referring to our subject. He desires that for the tree of religions to become the tree of one faith, oneness. One faith means love, peace, brotherhood, compassion, harmony, cooperation, and social evolution. And also very, very nice cooperation. Thank you so much and for your attention, and God bless you everything from here.
Thank you, Dr. Thank you very much for your wisdom. May I have the pleasure to invite Her Excellency Duchess Naveen Al-Gamal, who has been very engaging with so many things. She has managed to produce a special water from a place that is in reference to the chakra of love. She has also published a book recently entitled The Power of Respect. As an Egyptian entrepreneur, she is multitasked and very talented. Without further ado, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. Today we are here to talk about the healing power of water. I would like first of all to congratulate all of us for the ceasefire between Israel and Palestine. And today I invite you to reflect on the profound gift of water, not merely as a physical necessity, but as a symbol of God's mercy, a source of healing, and a force of transformation. Water holds a unique place in our lives and beliefs. From ancient tradition to modern science, its magnificence is underlined. Water responds to the energy it receives. Positive thoughts and words create harmonious patterns, while negativity disrupts its balance. This reminds us that the energy we project into the world profoundly matters. Across cultures and faiths, water symbolizes renewal and purity. In Islam, it is described as the origin of life. As reflected in the Quran, we made from water every living thing, Surah Al-Anbiya. In Hinduism, rivers like the Ganges are rivers as sacred forces of purification. In Judaism and Muslim tradition, water is used in ritual before prayer to connect with the divine. While Christianity embraces water in baptism as the symbol of rebirth and cleansing. Across all tradition, water connects, heals, and sustains life. Water not only cleanses us spiritually, but it also offers emotional and physical renewal. Even though something as simple as taking a shower, when water flows over us, it washes away more than just dirt. It clears the mind, refreshes the body, and resets the spirit. The sound of running water, the feel of droplets on our skin, and the sense of calm that follows are reminders of water's healing power. It can transform our mind, shift our energy, and create clarity in moments of stress or confusion. Water is essential for our physical existence, making up 60% of body in men and 55% in women, underscoring its critical role in sustaining every cell within us. Yet millions around the world lack access to clean drinking water. With climate change accelerating, experts warn that water could become as valuable as gold in the near future, sparking conflicts on displacing entire communities. This reality calls us to action. Let us honor water as the scared gift it is. Save it, protect it, and cherish it for generations to come. Simple acts like fixing a leaking tap or using water wisely can make a significant difference. Every drop matters. Behind its physical importance, water reflects God's mercy. It nourishes the earth, sustains life, and cleanses us both physically and spiritually. When water becomes sacred, it serves as a reminder to return to God, seek forgiveness, and live with gratitude for His blessings. Let us treat water as more than a resource. It is a divine gift, a symbol of renewal, and a connection to one another and the Creator. I extend my heart's gratitude to Mr. Ahmed Shebani for gathering us today, the global activities, and the United Nations for their tireless efforts with the Universal Peace Federation to protect this vital resource. Your work inspires hope and motivation change, ensuring that water remains a blessing for future generations. Finally, I urge each of you to reflect on every drop of water. Use it wisely, protect it, and let it remind us to live with gratitude and compassion. Water is life. It cleanses, empowers, and sustains us. Together, let's honor and cherish it as the sacred gift it is. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Duchess Naveen. May I have the pleasure to introduce to you Sheikh Muhammad, a learned Sufi scholar who specializes in the interpretation of a mystical Sufi known as the Prophet of Love, Rumi, from the city of Konya. As a matter of fact, he was a refugee from Afghanistan. When he reached there, was about maybe 8 years of age. He had nothing. He didn't even know the language, the Turkish language. But somehow he was reading the 99 name of God, and he discovered only 2 of them have harsher meanings, and the rest were very kind of loving, very tolerant, very forgiving. And from there, he commenced his journey, his mystical journey of leaping beyond his ego fears, and his divine spiritual ideology still lives until today. If you ask, with respect to all Saudis, those in the West who decided to revert to Islam, 99% have accessed Islam vis-a-vis the corridors of Sufism. I've never met a single one who entered Islam through Wahhabism. So, without further ado, please, His Holiness Sheikh Mohammed.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, my teacher, my great master. I appreciate it. Thank you for inviting me here. I'm Mohammed. I have a PhD in health psychology, and I do healing, like Reiki and other methods of spiritual healing, let's say. And I had that great gift from God to be in the path of Sufism that Mr. Ahmed talked about it. سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا. In Quran we have a verse when Allah says that we say, "Oh, glory all to God, we have no any knowledge but what He taught us." So we are here all learners, and we're going to talk about our own origin. In Rumi's poem, the word Bishnu is the first word of Rumi's book, means listen. This is the only book, as a scholar like Rumi did not start his book with it in the name of God. He started with listen. Listen to what? To Iqra, to what has been said by Jibril, read to a prophet. So he's teaching us the art of listening. And listening, it doesn't mean only listen. Listening is different than hearing. It's a combination of hearing and understanding, knowing, getting that knowledge. So if you want to read all my book, all of this huge book with thousands of lines of poetry, you need to learn to listen. There will be time we will make a talk with Sir Mr. Mushtaq, definitely for Rumi. We'll go into interpretation more. And it really helped me with my psychology and my healing. Rumi helped me a lot with it because it opened the light for me so I can see things around me. And me as a Persian, knowing his poem in his own language, it helps me a lot. And being a poet, that makes me understand it more. And being in the same path, then it gives me the same perspective. So that was a great gift that I think I have from God. My dear Ahmed asked me to talk about water because he knows I value water a lot. In Rumi's poetry, he says, Rumi's life is a love life. Because normal life everybody has. So as our sister said, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلِّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ. So everything became alive with water. To Rumi, he elevates himself from this level. He says, whoever is in life, who has the water of love in his veins. If you have not love, you're not alive. You had a beautiful sentence. Can you please repeat it for us? The two categories. Oh yeah, please. Yeah, I'll give it to you. Yeah, thank you so much. So if you're not in love, you're not alive. So that means the water of love has to be in your body. So it's all about water. I'm happy this talk is about water because we do appreciate it so much. Years ago, a scientist called Emoto from Japan has done research about water. That was so beautiful, shocking, amazing scientific report when he could take a picture of water molecules and he find out the shape of it is the shape of crystal. from the spring. And then he followed that river when it was going to cities and villages and everywhere else. And again, he freezed the water and captured. He saw the molecules are different. Why? The same water from the same source is going wrong. Then he got the same water, the bad one, the negative one. And he prayed on him. He talked to him in a good way, in a positive way. All the molecules, they went back to and get crystallized in the original shape of it. And then what he's done, he asked some of scholars, he tested the water in the lake in Japan. It was all full of negativity, so the molecules didn't have a good shape. He asked some scholars from far to pray for this lake. And they prayed, and he tested the water again. They went back to the original shape. So effect of prayer on the water. Isn't that amazing? Effect of prayer on water, distant prayer. Because we don't have a limitation. In our soul, there is no limitation. So it changed the water. Then what he's done, he had a bottle like your bottles, and he started writing on it positive and negative words. Only writing without even saying. And it changed the water's molecules. I advise you also, if you didn't do it so far, to write some positive words on it. Like mom, you can write mother, you can write God, you can write peace, you can write harmony. And it really affects the water. The moral of the story is, most of our body is from water. I guess it's 70% actually, or 71%. If I am in the love and I talk good and I have a good words and I do have a good deeds, at least 70% of my body will be balanced. Just by words. Just by saying, hey, me, Muhammad, I'm good. 70% of my body is good now. 70% of my body. Imagine. And if I say the other way around, something else, that negativity happens again. So, I love the idea of how much we need to take care of water, but let's take care of the water that we have in our body at the moment. Let's take care of it. Let's start from here, from Awsaf. Then we go for the drinking water that we're having, for taking shower that we're doing, and the rest of it that you already talked about it. The meditation that you mentioned in your prayers, or prayers, is all about positive words. So you're reciting positive words. 24/7, you're changing. I remember in older time when they were going to some scholars, after they were reading on the water, some prayers, and then they were giving you that water for the healing. Did you hear that? This is what they were doing. I have this true story from one of my friends. It's so amazing. He's 80 years old, 85 years old. He said there was a sheikh in Saudi Arabia, in Lahsa. This gentleman called Sheikh Abu Bakr, Allah yarhamah, may peace be upon him. He was reading on the water and giving to people for healing. When he was reading on the water, reciting like Quran or any prayers, he was saying Bismillah in the name of God. Once the students, they asked him, Sheikh, why you don't continue the whole sentence, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? He said, because this glass cannot tolerate it. They said, what do you mean? They gave him a glass of water, and he read the full sentence, the glass broke. So this man that I know him, today he's alive, he had a problem with his knee, and he went to the sheikh, and he got well, but sheikh passed away. So this is the power of words on the water. But But we say today on the water, it doesn't mean it doesn't have an effect on the wood. It doesn't have effect on the stone. So our words are so precious and important. We have to watch it very good. Thank you so much for your time. Yeah, please.
Dr. Ahmed, when you introduced you, he said you have 2 special names about 99 names. What they are?
Well, I love all of them, but
Very special 2 names, so we would like to know.
Al-Wadud, which is so beautiful, is all about love. And when God says, I أنا لكم محب فبحقي عليك كن لي محبة. I love you all. I love you all. And since a lover has a right on the loved one, please love me back.
So Al-Wadud and the second one?
Oh, I don't want to say which one. I like all of them. Al-Hakim. Al-Hakim. Everything is bihikmata. So I love all of them, actually. Yeah. I think since Ahmed is not here, let's continue talking. What do you think? Oh, yeah. I have my clinic in Harley Street as a psychology center, psychology and energy healing. And also we have in Dubai. So the main branch is actually in Dubai, and the second branch is in Harley Street. So it's other way around. Usually from UK we go to Dubai, and this time from Dubai is to UK. And I do work on health psychology and family counseling, kids psychology. We do have a specialist who does the movements and dance therapy, which is so beautiful too. We have nutritionists, and we work with the relationship between your physical and mental health. Myself, I teach in Roehampton University, sometime as a guest lecturer. So I teach health psychology. So that's the relationship between your brain and your body, your mind and your body. And my specialty is about effect of gut microbiome on your mental health. So those bacteria that we were killing them for last 100 years at least, actually we were wrong. We want to help them to be alive because they're helping us with our physical health and mental health, and they find the relationship between an anxiety and the gut microbiome, ADHD and gut microbiome. It's amazing. They also find the relationship between autism and gut microbiome. So it's a huge research going on about the effect of gut microbiome on the mental health and physical health. Thank you so much again.
Thank you, Sheikh.
Yes,
thank you.
Gut feeling is about?
Oh yeah, gut feeling is actually an inspiration. So when you get ilhamat, when you get inspired from somewhere beyond the brain, that's inside. So that's what we call gut feeling. Yeah.
Thank you very much, Sheikh Mohammed. Thank you. May I invite my brother Lawrence? I would like you to educate us from the Jewish context so far as the ritual of cleansing and the cycle of it and how it is performed. Please, the floor is yours. Okay. Welcome. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody, and thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Ahmed, for inviting me, and to the Universal Peace Federation as well for hosting this. I've prepared some loose thoughts around water, but they're based essentially on my Jewish background, and as our sister, the first speaker, was saying about the first 5 books of Moses contain the Torah, which then, with Nevi'im and Ketuvim, they form what Christians call the Hebrew Bible, or the Old Testament we call the Hebrew Bible, which is part of the corpus. Let me say at the outset, whether you believe in God or not, in a sense it doesn't really matter from this point of view, that we're all based on civilizations which have religious foundations, and there's a beautiful truth in all of them, and certainly I believe in the Jewish tradition, at which the center of which is water. Let me just put it in context. Last week, if you know, in the Jewish religious year, one listens to the Hebrew Bible, the 5 books of Moses, which are recited from beginning to end and then begun again. And last Shabbat, which was yesterday, was the book of Shemot, which is the book of names, but it's actually the first book of Shemot, which is also called in English Genesis. Sorry, not Genesis, I beg your pardon, Exodus, which is Exodus from Egypt. No, it's the story of Moses, the coming to Sinai, the giving of the law, and the foundations of what we know as the Jewish faith. Let's take Moses. Moses himself, Moses common to the Christian tradition, the Jewish tradition, and the Muslim tradition as Musa, is his name, if I'm not mistaken, is actually derived from an Egyptian name, which means drawn from the water, or he who will draw from water. So water is essential to his being. Throughout that book, one comes across miracles which are connected with water. The miracle of his saving, how history would have been different had the princess of Egypt not gone by the river and seen this boy, who was then raised by his, they say in the Midrash, I think, the Talmudic Midrash, that he was raised by his mother, Yocheved, and by his sister, Miriam. They raised him, he became Prince of Egypt, and then discovered his true identity in the oppressed slave community of the Hebrews. And from that, it's a long story, but it's a fascinating one. And throughout it, water features. Of course, we know about the water in the plagues. We know about the river that turns to blood. You know, the signs come through with water. Moses strikes a rock, and from that rock comes water. These are the miraculous sides. I was lucky enough once to be in Damascus, in Syria, and I came across in the museum a portrait, which is very unusual because Jews, like Muslims, don't make visual images of religion, certainly not of religious matters. But in the Damascus Museum, there's a portrait of the children of Israel. Sorry, I beg your pardon. There's a room which is essentially a synagogue from Dura Europos on the Euphrates River. There's another watery reference. And in it, you see Moses leading the 12 tribes of Israel across the Red Sea. We know the parting of the waves is one of the great aquatic miracles known to the Bible and to civilization generally. In this particular depiction, it shows 12 streams of water above, but opening. And in the opening are each of the 12 sons of Jacob, or sons of Israel. And I thought, this is a remarkable story. I looked it up, and maybe people who are better versed in Jewish religious matters can inform me, but I think there is a midrash, a commentary on the Torah, which says that each of the tribes marched along their own path. And I think there's a moral for us there, that whether we are black or white or men or women, we've all got our own paths. We can actually, but the waters can part in order to make way for us so that we can get through to the other side. Let me say, I wanted to also speak about water. There's also a negative side to water. Let's be honest. People drown in water. People lack water and starve to death. In the Psalms of David, attributed to what we Jews call the King David, I know Muslims call him Nabi Dawood, a prophet, but in those Psalms, the Zabur, Psalms, of course, are well known to the Christian tradition because it's the same, really, in that respect. There's an expression in one of the Psalms where troubles overwhelm one, or in his case, the king himself. And he uses the expression, Ba'u maim ad nafesh, which means literally waters are covering my, I think it's your throat, but it's the same word as nafesh. It's like nafs in Arabic, means your soul. So waters are covering my soul. How was the world changed so that mankind was saved? Well, according to the Jewish tradition, Noah was asked to build an ark to save humanity, and the others were killed by water. So water is a powerful tool. And he said, the flood this time, the fire the next time. These sound like negative things, but let's be realistic. We're living in an awful world as well as a beautiful one. And water can have punitive powers. Somebody, I think, yes, Ahmed was mentioning purification And I'm not a great expert on this, but I do know that we have blessings in the Jewish tradition for everything, commonplace. Every commonplace deed has a blessing. So this notion of a secular world divided from a religious one is a little bit alien to the Jewish tradition. In other words, the commonplace is sacred. It's all provided according to the Jewish belief from God. And I was just noticing this morning when I looked at that blessing, most of the other blessings say, thank you, God, for literally taking bread out of the earth. Motzi lechem min haaretz. It just mentions what the action is. In the case of the blessing on the washing of the hands, which sounds like the most mundane of activities, it actually mentions the word commandment twice. You mentioned the 613 or 618 commandments. One of the commandments is to wash your hands. I thought it was interesting that the sacredness of this deal. Mikvah, thank you. That's a very important point. That's another lecture series, but thank you for raising it. There is the concept of purification, especially for, especially applies to women, but not just women. Everybody can do it. Before, it's a stipulation in one of the commandments that one must have running water, and then you basically bathe and you purify yourself. So it's.
But it has a certain prayer and certain way that you have to be under the water.
I think. Let me look into that. I'm not an expert in that, but there is certainly a prayer for entering the mikveh and for taking part in it. And in fact, it's often evidence if you look around. Yes, you've got to submerge yourself under the water. I mean, one imagines it's got some connection today. Yes, well, I'll probably learn from you then. But the mikveh is important, also especially important for women. It's a particular aspect for purification and so forth. Well, yes, St. John, of course, is not in the Jewish tradition, but stems from it in the sense that he was John, yes. I've got a certain theory about that, but that's a little bit. It's about the connection between messianism and baptism. I mean, messianism being the Messiah will come, and according to in the Hebrew, Mashiach actually means anointed with oil. So maybe baptism is a form of anointing for mankind generally in water. But let me return to the beginning, if I may, which is let me just see. I don't want to take up too much time, but I've got a few interesting tidbits here. Yes, water is also connected with things you wouldn't imagine, with justice. I mean, I'm going to quote the prophet Amos, who was a favorite, I think, of the late Jimmy Carter. And it said, "But let justice roll down like waters, and righteousness like an ever-flowing stream." I'm just going to decline my sister's phone call. Sorry about that. But those are absolutely beautiful words, I think. They're so inspiring. But it means there's a connection between heaven and earth. And I think that is reflected in water. And you can almost see in the Hebrew, the word for heaven being shamayim. The word in Hebrew for water is mayim. So there's almost like a connection. And I thought I was imagining that until I saw, and I'll probably conclude with the beginning, if I may, with the book of Genesis, where that pun, in a sense, is implied. The book is the first chapter of the Hebrew Bible, which is also part of the Christian Old Testament, and is broadly reflected almost identically in the Quran. And it said, "Bereshit bara Elohim et hashamayim ve'et haaretz." So in the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And then rapidly, we go through phases where water forms the central part. The earth was unformed, it was void, so it's like chaos. It actually mirrors scientific theories. In the Hebrew, by the way, there's certain, if people have a certain fetish by the Hebrew language or Semitic languages generally, the two words that appear, which don't appear anywhere else in the Torah, tohu vabohu, which is almost like a funny word, but it means was a mess. The world was a mess. What brought it together? It was unformed, void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep, on the face of the deep, and the Spirit of God, and I'll read it in the Hebrew, Varuach Elohim mirachefet al pnei hamayim, which means the Spirit, ruach, like rich in Arabic, was hovering. Again, this word that only appears once in the Torah, hovering over the face of the water. So the water is almost like the primordial soup out of which everyone came. Then there was lightness. God divides light from dark, And he also divides, lightness from dark, and then there was first day light and dark, first day darkness he called night, etc. And then the third day he made a firmament in the midst of the waters. So the heavens come out of water, which is almost, one can't imagine. He divided the waters from the waters. And that was the one word which was repeated at the very beginning of creation, more than anything else, is water. It's if you did a kind of computer reference, you would see that water appears extensively. I think I'll finish with just a point about coming back to the purification. And one of it is water is an essential staff of life. Without it, we can't exist. Water has healing powers, as my friend over here said, that it has been scientifically proven, and spiritually certainly, that water flows through us. If we're all made of water, in a sense, we're all the same molecules. We're all just H2O with a few amusing variations, but there's some communication implied. I've now lost my train of thought. Sorry, my train of thought. What was I going to say? Yep, I think maybe I should leave it there. I got too excited, but thank you for listening. Thank you.
Thank you. I would like to summarize things. Somehow, in the beginning, we were Jewish. And then somehow, we became Christian. And then somehow, we became Muslim. And then somehow, we became one. As far as I'm concerned, God does not need your prayers. There is a verse in the Quran that says, if all humanity did not believe, if all the humanity that is living now and that will come later did not believe, will not reduce an inch from His Majesty. And if all the humanity that lived, that are now, that are coming, believed, will not add an inch. That God does not need us. What God wants from us, to be kind to each other, to be kind to the animal kingdom, to be kind to the universe. In Islam, religion is your behavior. Without further ado, let me amplify the light on my brother Atul from India. As we all know, now we go through a special religious festival in India. It happens every 12 years, and it is the largest pilgrimage in the world. More than 500 million will attend to dip in the holy river. We would like to learn more of that pilgrimage and the concept of cleansing. From a medical aspect, my GP tells me, Ahmed, if you feel down, if you feel stressed, if you have anxiety, go and have a long shower. You'll feel better, honestly. Yeah. So, Mr. Brother Atul, come educate us. Thank you.
How do I move from one to the other? Yeah,
You just tap. Yeah, that's fine.
and go back where? Hi. Good evening. I mean, it was great to speak with some of you, and some of it was eye-watering because the stories were, and so the theme itself is water. So when your soul feels good, you know what I mean, there is water in your eye. And I actually basically wanted to take you through the whole genesis of what Hinduism is. Not many people know. So we are actually not going back 2,000 years back, but we are literally going back over 3,500 years ago. And this is when the whole exodus started from near the Caspian Sea. The people who are called Indo-Aryans, or they were Iranians. Iranians are one of us, but then we are not Iranians. You know what I mean? I mean, they were the people above the Caspian. But these are the people who migrated. Some of them came to India in 1,500 before Christ, and those were Indo-Aryans. And then obviously a lot of them went to Persia. They were Persians and they were above, right, above the Caspian Sea. The funny part is, I mean, not many people know that there is a very, very strong connection between not the Zoroastrian, but the pre-Zoroastrian before Mazda, Azur Mazda, because he made that religion monolithic. But it predates that time when all the gods, the Zoroastrianism and the Hinduism, which Aryans brought to India, they were basically, it was the same religion, right? We had devas, we had asuras, we called it dharma, they called it asha, and there's a lot of commonality between Zentavasta and the Rig Veda, which was written 1,500. The hymns are the same, the characters are the same. And I don't know, do any of you know, and excuse me if there anyone from Pakistan don't speak, but do you know where did the word India come from? I mean, how did that, you will not say that. Okay, well, the word India actually comes from River Indus.
Indus,
right? So in Sanskrit, which again is the language people think came from India, is actually did not come from India. It's the pre-Iranian language. Sanskrit was a pre-Iranian language, and in Sanskrit it was called Sindhu. The river was called Sindhu, right? Yes, and in Persian, so the Persians, when a lot of them migrated towards and they settled on the banks of river Indus, they started calling them Hindus. So there was no difference. So Hindu was not a religion. It was a segment which has separated and migrated and settled on the banks of river Sindhu, and the people who settled on that banks were called Hindus, right? And India is again an abbreviation. It's a take on that, and it's a Greek word. So again, it is a twist of Indus, Indus, India. That's how India has come from, right? And they actually did not settle down. They did not straight away go to the India you know. Where they actually went and settled down is in Afghanistan, East Afghanistan. So Gandhar was the main center. So if there was a Mecca for Hindus and Hinduism, it isn't in India today. It is actually in Gandhar, Taxila, where probably Islamabad is, close to that, and the Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, and where these Buddhist statues were. So this is during the Vedic period, the Afghanistan is where the epicenter of Hinduism was. And I mean, people were, and these were the tribes which were all there. And I mean, that's why when you look at, I was talking about Indo-Aryan languages, and I was actually quite surprised because I spoke to a lot of Lithuanians, and their language has a lot of Sanskrit words, and I'm like, well, how do you know this, right? I mean, but, so when you talk about Anglo or you know the entire, from English till Sanskrit, it's Anglo European branch of languages. And therefore, when you talk about a lot of these gods as well, and funnily, everyone thinks, oh my God, Indians, they all worship different 1,000 gods and they have these statues. But the reality is that the Aryans actually did not worship any gods. They were absolute nature worshippers. So you know who our gods were? It was Surya, the sun god, which is also called Mithra, and it's still called Mithra in the Iranian and Greek and Roman. And then Devas, the Devas are called Degas in the Roman culture. You know, I mean, it's all interconnected. And then talking about water, obviously they chose, Aryans were basically the first people. There was no concept of horses in subcontinent. So these are the people, and who, you know who they were? They were actually nomads in the steppe islands, the steppe grasslands above, what is now maybe not Kazakhstan, maybe Uzbekistan, or, the steppe region above. And these were the nomads who were on the horses all the time, right? And they had no concept of any agriculture, or because they've never seen a settled life. They were moving from one place to the other. And River Indus actually gave them the sense of doing cultivation, and that's when they became a population which started doing agriculture for the first time. They called the rivers, and Duchess Neve just pointed out River Ganga, but before that it was River Indus, right? The party was there 3,500 years back. All the scriptures were written over there on the Indus. That's where all the bathing was. That's where everything was. And it actually only moved to the Ganges in another 1,000 years. So we are talking about 500 BC, and that's when, before Alexander came, that's when the epicenter shifted slowly, because they were moving to India to invade other parts of India, the Aryans, and spreading the religion. And that's when it actually moved. And now I'm just showing you the similarities between some of the the Zoroastrian gods and the Hindu gods. So they almost kind of replicated. And then they called rivers their mother, because they had never seen anything like that before, right? I mean, they had not had that kind of water to turn from people who were fighters on the chariots and horses into people who could actually cultivate and settle down in a place. But they settled down, and like how? They created the whole civilization around there because of the river. And that's why the rivers were called the nurturing mothers, right? So Sindhu, Saraswati, Ganga, they're all rivers actually, and they call cows mothers, and they call rivers mothers because of the nurturing, what they can give them. And somehow nothing else could give them regular supply of food without having to struggle. And that's the first time they see, well, you can grow crops and everything, you know what I mean? The gods themselves, and I've told you about Surya, which is the sun god, right? And there were only we worshipped only 4 elements of nature. And the sect I belong to, I belong to Arya Samaj. Hinduism again is like amalgamation of hundreds of sects. So today in Arya Samaj, we still worship fire. So Arya means Aryan, and Samaj means community. So we belong to that community, and we still worship fire. So there's no god we worship. We just kind of, like the Zoroastrians, we also worship fire. The other important god, and which connect us to water, is Indra. So Indra is the rain god. So you would pray before the monsoons to Indra so that there were rains, good rains every year. And Vayu is the air, right? And Agni is the fire. And Varun is the god of thunder. Thunder, lightning. So these are all the gods, so as to say. Now, because they carried a lot of pre-Zoroastrian tradition into India, nothing changed when it came to gods and demons. So the gods were called Devas, and the demons were called Asuras, right? And they all they were after one thing, and they knew that if they had this nectar of life, they can become immortal, right? So there was, somehow gods intervene. This is mythology, but I'll tell you what is to a common man, to make him understand. A lot of mythological tales have to be built so that the common person understands what they're talking about. So the gods decided they should do a cosmic churn. Cosmic churn as in, of the Milky Way, to get that pot, the nectar, the pot of nectar, which if they drink, they will become immortal, right? And they could have actually only used the gods to do this, but they also got the demons because they needed a lot of power to churn something that big. This is mythology, but I'm not saying it really happened, but probably would have happened. But the idea is that joined the forces between the evil and the good, and they did the churn, and then there's a serpent which is around Shiva, which was used as the rope for that churn. and there was a massive mountain, literally as big as Everest, which was used as the thing in between. And then it actually led to them getting the nectar, the pot of that nectar, which would actually give them eternal life. So, in fact, Kumbh means that the vessel, the pot which contains that nectar, that is Kumbh. So Kumbh and the celebration, and it so happened when all the devas, the godheads, they had that nectar, and obviously they're eternal, right? But when some of these drops, so the gods didn't want the evil, the devils to actually have that, because it'll be difficult to destroy if they've had drunk that, then you can never destroy evil from the planet. So then obviously the god took, they turned themselves into a very pretty woman, and she took the nectar away from the evil, and she was called Mohini, and she actually gave it to all the godheads. And it so happens, that as the legend goes, that 4 drops of that nectar dropped while, and then there was an eagle which was flying over with that pot of nectar, and 4 drops dropped in these 4 places in India. One is Haridwar, one is Prayag, Ujjain, and Nasik. And these were all the places at the confluences of some river, right? And this is where they started. So now, what is Kumbh now? That was metaphorical. The whole thing happened, and obviously there was a churn, and this was. But it is actually Kumbh in human life is the body. The pot is the body. The nectar is your soul, right? And the churn is between the good and the evil, so that you become spiritually awakened. So it basically means that you need to have good, evil, and come across a lot of hurdles in life to basically bring the best out of you. So the churn is about that. That is symbolic, right? So, yeah.
They saying this week from today, they're going to be all the stars aligned together, 7 of them.
They are. Okay.
Yes.
So this means, why does this happen once in 12 years, right? So Jupiter,
They are saying this happened every 2,000 years once, and it's happening.
this is happening after 144 years, this particular auspicious time, right? So, if you look at Kumbh Mela is based on rare planetary position, unique alignment, Jupiter, and all the planets rarely are aligned together for the first time. So this has happened after 144 years. But Jupiter is considered to be the planet of consciousness in Hinduism, and obviously they were able to calculate this. Persians were, at 3,005 years, they were hugely interested in astronomy, right? Because these were the two, obviously, and this was the spill of. But at that point of time, they could calculate that Jupiter takes 12 years to circle around Sun. So why does Kumbh happen after 12 years? It is one complete planetary rotation of Jupiter around Sun. And when that finishes, that's the time when Kumbh happens. They couldn't calculate it. And I told you there were 4 places where the drop of honey nectar dropped, right? Now, when the Jupiter is when the Sun is in Capricorn, which it is right now, then the Kumbh happens in Allahabad, which is Prayag room, right? Depending upon where after those 12 years is Sun in. So it will happen in Haridwar, another city, if it is in Aries. So if it was in April, it would happen in that city. And if it was in Leo, which is the summer, then it will happen in another city. So they had these calculations that they would know well in advance that when would this occurrence happen. And why is it important? The moon, sun, and Jupiter align, which means the spiritual energy is maximum at that point of time. And she's right. The stars have aligned, and a lot of people.
Venus, Mars,
Yes, and for the and this will actually be there for a month, right? I mean, and you can see these planets very clearly in the night these days. I mean, if you've noticed. So this actually tells you why 12 years, right? I mean, the whole rotation of Jupiter, and Jupiter is an important. So it is a combination of confluence of the river and the planetary position of Jupiter, which basically means that it enhances the spiritual energy. And if you take that holy dip in the place where that nectar was, it actually leads to spiritual awakening. And then obviously Ahmed has already told you about how big it is. It's 50,000 people.
500 million.
500 million. And Steve Jobs was inspired. So this is all the ascetics which actually live in the caves in Himalayas. And they don't wear any clothes. And right now this place is as cold as London. But you will see no one wearing overcoats or anything at all because they are meditating in the Himalayas. So they are quite... So, well...
Thank you very much.
That's about it. So
Thank
sorry,
you.
but
Thank
I
you.
have to actually take you through the...
May I have the honor now to invite the worshipful, His Honorary, His Excellency, the former Mayor of Kensington Borough, Mayor Mushtaq Lashari, please. Thank you.
Good evening. I think I'm the least knowledgeable among all of you. So let me be very clear that I'm going to speak to you directly as a human being. I just made some notes of your information you have given me this evening. And I'm very thankful to Saj Bhatt Saab because I had another dinner to go to and I asked him to please let them know that I will be late because I'm going to speak for 2 hours. Ahmed, is it all right? 5 minutes? 2 hours is too long, so let's see. So let me thank, first of all, Ahmed Shebani and Robin Marsh. Somewhere Robin Marsh is sitting, who is in charge of this place, and all of his team. And Ahmed, thank you very much. I was feeling very hungry before I eat a pizza and another one, vegetarian another. And can I start by thanking it all? And it is very right time to invite me, because I was going to speak about it, where human being came from. I think Indus civilization is oldest. Why it is called Indus civilization? That was the first river to flow from Himalayas. And it crosses all Pakistan and falls near Karachi into sea. And there were 2 oldest areas. One is called Aryan, which you are follower of, and other was Draverian, which became this religion called Zoroastrian. And these are the 2 oldest religion, by the way. I think some people claim that Zoroastrian is oldest, one people call Hindu is the oldest. But the civilization in Pakistan is now proven that there are some signs in Balochistan, and I'm a Baluch, but I live in Punjab. I live on the riverside of Indus, which is called Chenab in my area, because there are now 5 rivers, not 1, in that area, and that's why one of the area of India and Pakistan is called Punjab, because Punjab in Persian is 5 rivers. So it is called Punjab, where most of the Sikhs and many Pakistani live. And another thing, I believe everybody who has spoken that in this world there are 31% Christian, 25% Muslims, 15% Hindus, 14% humanist. And I'm one of the 4th one. So I'm very thankful to you to invite me and speak to you, because I believe in the Indus civilization, which you have just mentioned that there was no religion. And then fights were on food and water. So today fights are on power, and which is unfortunate situation. But with that note, can I congratulate everybody in this room, everywhere, all over the world, for a ceasefire at least in one area. We have many wars going on in the world, and they are based on, unfortunately, power. And they use the religion as a one of the bases of conflict. You are Jew, I am Muslim, you are non-believer, I am believer. So I think that is very important. And I said it. I think Tree of Faith, if you read the message, we just said it, everybody as a human being believe in it. But do we practice? I'm a Sufi. I'm a humanist Sufi. So I grew up in a Sufism where the biggest Sufism exists. As you said, the Hindu philosophy came because first it was water which became most important. And thank you, Madam, to speak about water, and everybody has spoken about water today. Water is becoming very scarce at the moment in our bodies, depending on our age and sex. Water is in between 50 to 75%. And in the world, it is 71%. But water is becoming scarce in Africa, in Asia, in many countries. And I believe the Third World War will not be on oil, it might be on water. So I think we have to understand that water is very important. I think another thing for believers is the God, Allah, or whatever you call it, is Rabbul Alameen. He is also my God, or the people who don't believe, or even other aliens who might live in many other part of the world which we don't have reached yet, or science have not reached. They are researching on it, they are sending their everything, but they have not reached there. And I think God is for everybody. So let's believe that nature, God is for everybody. And I think you said it, and I'm going to say it before I speak more about other few things. There are about 8+ million people, Sheikh Saab, Rahman Sheikh Saab, 8+ billion people in this world. 97% of the people out there. Less than 3% are you representing all of you. Whether you are Jew, whether you are Muslim, unbeliever, or anybody, less than 3%, Roger, are who are sitting here and representing outside there. And yesterday I was in central London celebrating the ceasefire, and I saw many Jewish people there as well, apart from who were carrying the banners of we don't believe in Zionism, we believe in peace. I think those 97+% people who are born for themselves, live for themselves, and die for themselves, Ahmed. And they die before they die. Even their own families, their children don't remember them. But the less than 3% are the people like you and me who are born for other, live for other, and die for other. And they will never die. And all the prophets, nabis, or believers are one of those less than 3%. And they lived in different times, whether it is Muslims, Jewish, or House of Ibrahim, I call them, because they are all three religions. And at the moment, conflict is among those three biggest religions, or the states who believe in those three religions. Let's hope and take one message today or tonight of that we are human beings. We have to practice what we believe in and what we preach. And Sufism was one of them. And I say that I am a Sufi because even in 2024, I don't own anything. Not a house, not a car, not I use public transport. Although I'm a commander of British Empire and I'm a little bit more stopped by people, and a lot of people know me. I'm based in Parliament. At the moment, I'm working for Justice for Grenfell and Robin. In next few weeks, you will hear the decision on it. And we are really, even on Sunday morning, I had 5 meetings this morning with bereaved survivor and residents. So I think it is very important that we give up our own wishes, our own philosophies, our own greed, and work for whole humanity. Thank you very much.
One minute. May I have the honor to present this progressive thinker who has managed to liberate himself from the clamps of religion. This is a special gift from Dr. Wafiq Mustafa, an Egyptian physician based in London, and he has had the courage to articulate this freedom in his book. So without further ado, this is a special gift from Dr. Wafiq Mustafa to you.
Thank you very much, and I will take it to Mohenjo-daro, which is one of the oldest civilizations next to Ladkhana and Sindh. And I think Hindus, majority, were living on the riverside, and still many of them are living there. Thank you.
Thank you. I know there are many stars among us that I would like to put the spotlight on, but there is a young angel. She just finished work. She works in Richmond. She actually volunteers as a dentist, and it's her passion to enter a school of medicine to become a dentist. Unfortunately, she finds a lot of impediments, and today there is an event for the Egyptian Medical Society, and it conflicted with mine, so I couldn't be there to meet the professors to ask them to help this angel. May I identify the angel to stand up, please? Come here, please come. She's from India. She's a Sikh, and her family is a close friend of mine. And I'm so honored that you managed to come after your work. Please come here. Please address, you're very confident, address the crowd, and why is your passion? Do you want to become a dentist?
Hello, my name's Anjali. I've been in the field for about 5-6 years now. Been doing it for a long time. Started as a first job as dental nursing after my GCSEs, did my A-levels, did my biomed degree. But yeah, I've been just doing it, worked in NHS 1-1. I do the domiciliary service. We go to the care homes. We do people's homes as well, private dental care as well. We do sedation services. I've worked with a lot of dentists in a lot of fields. So I'm just sort of struggling at the moment. So
you will make it. If anyone knows the route, the path to access the medical university for dentistry, please don't be shy to contact her directly.
Thank you so much for this. Thank you.
I have another victim among us, but she has asked me not to announce her name. It's too sensitive, but I will speak in a camouflaged way. An office that is owned by the richest private sector in Qatar, directly opposite the Saudi Royal Embassy in Curzon Street. They said, Ahmed, we need someone to help us in the office. Can you find us someone? I said, yes, let me make some phone calls. I did. I called this lady, and she said, Ahmed, my daughter is 16. She has a passion for architecture. She wants to become an architect. I said, I hate them. She said, why? I said, because they are our bosses. As a civil engineer, we don't like architects. And I said, but I will help her. So I contacted this office. I know they have architectural department. I say, I have a young girl. She has a passion for architecture. She's ready to work part-time in your office at minimum wage. We need her tomorrow. No problem. So I send this young girl at a minimum wage that I've agreed verbally on the phone. And she started. She organizes the plans. She answers the phone. She sends the post. Can you believe it? A task was delegated to her to pick up the plastic slippers and to bring them to the boss so he can make ablution for his salah. How insulting. How disgraceful. Christmas was coming. Her mother calls me. She said, Ahmed, my daughter, she wants to go for holiday. I said, okay, let her go. But they haven't paid her. I said, what? 3 months? She said, no. So I picked up the call. I called him, the top man. I said, the young girl who worked in your office for 3 months, You haven't paid her. When will you pay her? No, 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 we have paid her. I said, I'm sorry. You're a liar. The mother doesn't lie. Okay. Puts the phone down. He asked his secretary to put £500 in an envelope and to ask her to go out. He fires her. So the girl comes back home. She's crying. The mother calls me. She said, Ahmed, why did you break her heart? I said, of course it's not me. This is not acceptable. I have a choice. I can put it in social media, and it might be too dangerous because, you know, I think royalties are fine, but you mustn't immerse yourself with them because they can burn you. It's okay to keep close proximity for the heat, but don't go in, as you know. So please, on behalf of this young aspiring architect, if you know any office in architecture ready to accept someone on minimum wage, part-time, please let me know. Thank you. And perhaps many of you don't know why there is this image displayed. 25 years ago, my learned brother, Mr. Robin Marsh, put a message out that anyone who has a vision should write an essay and apply for a scholarship because there is a conference entitled Paradigm Leadership something. I can't remember now, 25 years ago, my memory is rusty. And it was in South Korea. So I wrote this essay and I passed it on to Mr. Robin. And I'm glad I got the scholarship. And I had the pleasure to fly to South Korea, where I met His Holiness, the late Reverend Father Moon. And I was mesmerized by his charisma, by his message, because of his truth and the message that he preached, that we are one human family under the Lord. Beyond his death, he died at the age of 92 years of age. We're still meeting because of his ideology. And the manager with Robin March, a lady from Lebanon, Mrs. Margaret, sadly she can't be with us for health reasons. She said, Ahmed, we as a foundation, Universal Peace Federation, we are struggling with finance. Think of ways that we can get some kind of income. I said to her, fine, let me think about it. How about if I find a local shop, we open a charity shop, and I will volunteer to pick up second-hand furniture from those who suffer hoarding and bring them to the shop and sell them at nominal price, which I do. And sadly, my mom has dementia. I am her primary carer. My mother had 8 children. When we were young, we were fighting who will sleep next to my mom. So my mom divided the system to alternate. So someone sleeps every day and my turn comes after 8 days. Now, sadly, my mom is 80 years of age. Nobody comes and visits her. I'm the only one who looks after her. And I don't know, is it the modern life? I mean, my sister runs a very important school in Bournemouth. It's called Kaplan. She came to Christmas to buy Christmas toys for her daughter from Hamleys. My mom literally lives 5 minutes walk from Hamleys. She didn't visit her. No worries. So what I do, I can go and pick up my mom, but I choose not to pick her up. I ask her, I say, Mommy, are you ready? Please come and meet me at the charity shop. I will guide her which bus to take, and she comes along to help me whenever the weather is nice. And whatever we make, most items we give them for £5 for free, because you can see some people are suffering with the cost of living. At this juncture, I would like to announce that next week I'm running another symposium similar to this with my brother who's a doctor from Sudan. He will come from Brighton. It will be on the 30th of January. I will publish it. But if I may ask Engineer Raymond to put the video that has been kindly compiled miraculously in less than 24 hours by a film producer. His name is Mr. Oliver from Egypt. Please stand up, please. Yeah. May we have the video, please? And I want to accentuate this lady who gave us the shop after the video. Just paying attention to her name, Mrs. Fatima. She is from Yemen, and that's her email. It's fsaada@saada.co.uk, and I'll tell you why. So may we have the video, please? Thank you.
That's White Leaf. This is Marshall Spencer food. And this they come along.
Stamattina mi sono alzato. Oh bella ciao, bella ciao, bella ciao, ciao, ciao. Stamattina mi sono alzato e ho trovato l'invaso.
Our charity shop for Universal Peace Federation.
Very good indeed. I've been the beneficiary of a few items from this shop that I bought or been otherwise given, and I found that Joseph is a very nice gentleman who's kind and generous and also very hospitable.
Thank you.
Thank you for giving me microwave for £2.50 and many other items like clothes for free. Thank you, UPF, for helping local community.
يا أنا هرب الصيف هربت على إيد الزينة وإذا ضيعني الهوى شي صيف في قلبك بتلاقيني وخبيني لا تخبيني وخبيني لا تخبيني لياليك بعيني شبابي مضوية سفرني يا حبيبي سفرني بلياليك وانا اقول لا تنسى على طول لا تنسى وعيونك تاخدني وتوعدني بلياليك لياليك تركوا سهر الباب والعاشق للمجنى تركوا اساميهن على الباب على كتب.
And how do you think about my service?
Joseph, you know, we moved into this area very recently. It was an empty house. It was an overrun house. We bought most of our cleaning stuff, most of the material until we sort ourselves out. And you did help us a lot. And really, it is an amazing cause. And we appreciate you so much.
Thank you. That's very kind of you. Anyone has unwanted items, please book me in the weekend. I have a car. I can do collection from any time 10 o'clock till 9 o'clock in the evening. And I'm happy to say that I have Mr. Oliver. Your good name is Mr. Oliver? Gentlemen, I'm dyslexic. Yes, your good name, sir. Yes.
I thought you were referring to somebody
Yeah,
behind.
the gentleman behind you. Yes.
Leo.
Oh, sorry, Leo. I met Mr. Leo at the synagogue JW3, and he volunteered to help in the charity shop. So I have your WhatsApp. I will write you, and we will organize the time. So, and just anyone who would like to attend the symposium I'm running on dementia, please write to me directly, and we can add your name to the event on the 30th of January. And I know Mr. Robin March would not be very happy if I put the spotlight on him, on his personal life. But he's also a carer for his mother, and she has dementia. So please, a round of applause for Mr. Mark.
Dementia. One of them is a head of BBC. At the age of 72, he's dementia, and now he's his name is Shafi Naki Jami, if anybody want to Google. He was head of BBC service Hindi, Urdu, and English. And he's at the 72-year-old passing through dementia. So her partner is a German lady. I salute her, but I visit him, another 90-year-old, another 95-year-old who are under dementia. I visit them weekly. I went to yesterday, one of them who is a professor of English from Pakistan, 90-year-old professor, Amin Mughal, Rahman Sheikh Sahab, you know it, Aslam, you might know him. He is 90-year-old, and actually yesterday his card was blocked because somebody fraudulently used his card, because obviously he can't look after himself. When he goes out, he needs somebody to carry him with him. They used it in a betting shop. Can you believe it? 3 times in 1 hour. And then it is blocked, and he can't do anything because he doesn't have any money. He lives alone in one of the prime area which was opened by Margaret Thatcher in 1982 in Finchley, which was her constituency. So I think it is very important, and I'm so pleased with Robin and you that you are looking after, because these are the people, and we should work, and I think we should also campaign, and I am one of the campaigner, and I can tell you we should campaign that now we should give more money to the carer, because they are the most unrecognized people. Sometimes children, 5-year-old, 4-year-old, and it is very sad that in one of the 6th richest country, we have billionaires who have made 3 times their wealth in last 10 years. From even COVID, they make billion, and we are living in a situation where people, children or grandchildren have to look after their parents and grandparents. I think we should campaign, and I am doing a lot of work on it, but I obviously will speak more on it. At the moment, I'm leading, and I think you all remember, and some of my colleagues are journalists, on last Sunday, they had an article on Greenfield Tower, and now the Deputy Prime Minister and ministers are running to us that they are going to announce it very soon. But it has been said by the media that they have already decided. They are assuring us we have not decided. We know what the decision is, because 90% of the people want it to be removed. But when it will be removed, there are many faith groups who want their loved one who died in it to be removed very respectfully, and I understand it. But how to do it, we don't know. So we are looking for people to advise us. And I think it is very important that we raise these campaigns, go out to our MPs, go out to our lords or MPs and councillors. Look, they are very powerful. They implement, Councillor Aslam Khan from Luton, they implement, and I know the central government doesn't come here. MPs have no power to implement. It is the local councillor who implement all the laws which are being created and allowed in the parliament. So work with your local councillor, and they are elected by 5,000-6,000 people. It is not big community. They can get together and tell them that, look, this is what we want. Thank you.
Thank you. Your Excellency, Mr. Councillor, please. The floor is yours. Oh, please. What? Come.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. I wasn't prepared for this, but just shedding a light on what Mr. Lashari has said. Most of the services are run by the local council, and you'd be amazed the amount of help that you can get, both from voluntary sector as well as the local government. We have in Luton, for example, either very young population or very old, and we are when we're planning for housing or everything else, that's always at the forefront of our mind, because most of these people cannot recognize either street names or shops and so forth. So It's about campaigning even in your local areas. How do you make shopping easier for them? How do you make their neighborhoods safer for them? And how do you try to galvanize the community to support those vulnerable people? And there's a lot of people may be isolated and probably crying out for help. And we heard about religions, and every religion that I'm aware of talks about being kind to your neighbor. And it's about extending your support and extending the helping hand, and both in terms of caring in your thoughts and as well as spreading love and food and everything else. Things are difficult for people. We know, recently a lot of pensioners are going through a very challenging time, and there is enough wealth to go around, and some of us have probably more than others, and I think we should spread that across as much as we can. I, as a counsellor, I do everything that I can. One of the things that I'm quite proud of is social prescription. You talk about Sufism, and I was in mental health for about 5 years, and this is where the idea and thought came. How could you improve one's life without medication? Quite a lot of them come with very nasty side effects, and particularly in mental health and antipsychotics. Once you reach the optimal care, and if they don't get better, there's no way to go. And the whole secret is about how do you empower people to be healthy, to eat healthy, to exercise, and to be amongst positive people. Because if you have positive frame of mind, it has positive impacts on your body. And so social prescription, if you heard of it, is embedded in NHS. Fantastic. So I shan't take most of your time. I know it wasn't. I wasn't told that I need to speak, but I thought I'd share the experience. But yeah, get in touch with your counsellors. Get in touch with so many voluntary organisations which do exist and offer their support. And if you know someone who needs it, put them in touch. Thank you.
Thank you. I will make a disclosure. I'm actually a primary carer for my mom who has dementia. I also care for my older brother, Akram. Akram, he did his degree in civil engineering, and then he did his postgraduate master's in Manchester 30 years ago in traffic calming. His thesis 30 years ago was a novelty. He was an ingenious person. And today, the first country to adopt traffic calming is actually Belgium. And now we see some urban places, Kingdom, have implemented this form of construction. The vehicle is inferior to the pedestrian. You encourage people to walk. Sadly, my brother, 20 years ago, he fell through the cracks of mental illness, and he developed paranoia schizophrenia. This is a very serious illness. We oscillate between mental health units, social services, the police, and so on. It's very challenging. My younger brother, Amin, as a teenager, we have issues of identity crisis. So somehow he finds himself in the area of smoking cannabis, to be cool, to be trendy, and so on. This has triggered psychosis, and now he suffers from manic depression. He has high and low. And mysteriously, a year ago, he woke up, he could not walk. He was paralyzed. He called the ambulance, they took him to UCL. They couldn't know what's wrong with him. Then they took him to a hospital near UCL. You would know, sir. I think it's called the National Orthopedic Hospital in Queen Square. And they did an MRI. From the MRI to the surgery, it took literally a few minutes. They came, they say, we can see there is a tumor at the back of your brother, and it's pressing against the spine. They got me and my mom inside the room, meant to be a calming room. And I remember maybe like 7 doctors came in, and they were telling us he's now paralyzed, he will not have quality of life, and more or less, better to switch off the machine. And the next day we were due to travel to Cairo for a wedding, so I had to postpone. And then I'm confused, and I said, but in our culture, in Islam, I don't know, can we do euthanasia? Can we switch off the machine? I need to consult. And then my mother hasn't comprehended what's going on. But she gave me an order. She said, Ahmed, نوض. امشي لهذاك الراجل. انزل. بوس على يده وبوس على رجله وقول له دير العملية. I will translate. She said, Ahmed, stand up, walk. Literally, he was the last doctor at the back. She said, go to that man, kiss his hand, go down, kiss his feet, and tell him to do the operation. It turned out he's the most important consultant among all of them. I don't know, how did you know? We did the operation, honestly. And Amin is alive. They say he will never walk. Amin now can walk 20 steps without any support. And miracle is happening. Thank you to the NHS. We actually take it, yes, thank you. We take it for granted that we have the NHS here. I will tell you something, it's shocking. I'm not making it up. Do you know, I'm sorry if there are Americans here, some Americans, they actually bring their grandparents and they dump them here and they go, honestly. They call it granny dumping because they know there is free NHS and they look after dementia. So let's show a round of applause to all the carers at NHS. I have a dream, and my dream that through you, Professor Zulfikar, you will be able to find a cure for dementia and other illnesses with AI. The floor is yours. Come. Professor Zulfikar from UCL.
Wow, what inspirational speakers we saw today. So I've got a presentation, can we
Yes,
put
please.
that?
Yeah, the
Okay.
engineer.
Okay.
How is it done?
I've
Mr.
got a
Ramon, please.
Flash drive here. Sure.
Yeah, he will.
Okay, so really inspiration speakers here today, and I was really impressed. But few facts about water, which I'm quite confused about.
Thank you.
Because as a human being, we cannot get rid of one drop of water since the existence of this earth. So the water which we are drinking today most probably has gone through dinosaurs once upon a time. I think it's the distribution of water which is inappropriate, not the scarcity of water. I think we should look into it. But today, thing which we are talking about is artificial intelligence. So obviously it's a word which we are all familiar about. And the use of this artificial intelligence within medicine is something which, yes, it's this one and this one.
Yep.
And how do you?
I'll put it up in a moment.
So initially we were talking with my friend here that dementia, actually we are very close. Very, very close. And yeah, it's this one. Okay, thank you very much. It's not there. Okay. So at just around the corner from here at Moorfields Eye Hospital, actually we have discovered that you can, through your retina, through your eyes, you can detect it many years before it's going to happen. And artificial intelligence, again, we are working on how to combat dementia in particular. So this all started actually through COVID times, basically, where we put all our resources to looking at artificial intelligence and the use of artificial intelligence within medtech. So it's just a little bit background about myself. You can see I've got over 30 years of experience within biopharmaceutical sectors. And I'm basically by profession, I'm a pharmacologist into drug discovery, into various molecules which we saw. Now, one of my discovery is botulinum neurotoxin, which is the deadliest toxin known to human being till to date, 1 million times more potent. It's not American, by the way, they take all the credit. But it was researched here by CAMAR, Center of Applied Microbiological Research in Porton Down. And famously, it is known as Botox today. But it was for therapeutic purposes, for cerebral palsy and various other conditions. But then we found a side effect of it as well, which is just cosmesis. So you are in essential putting deadliest toxin into skins of people, which is not right. But anyway, so this is overall. I worked with NICE, I worked with MHRA, so there are quite a few positions. Today, actually, I'm connected with UCL, where we are doing quite a lot groundbreaking research within various sectors, including into genetic mutations. And recently, we have discovered a treatment for glioblastoma, which is brain cancer for the latest stage. And there is complete cure for that. So these all innovations are coming. I mean to say again, if there are any Americans, 70% of the research is happening right here in London. It's here. Then obviously various countries come, they collect it and then make billions out of that. So in terms of, again, this is the specialist areas where we are operating. The company is called Octogenics Limited, and our main focus is rare diseases, orphan diseases, just to see what sort of cure we can find in orphan diseases and which are neglected diseases. So our strategy keeps on changing. Once we find a problem within the societies and communities, we try to put all our resources there to reduce mortality and morbidity rates. So during COVID time, we put all our efforts to find solutions, including researching on some products. Molnupiravir is one of those. And then we looked at artificial intelligence, that how artificial intelligence can actually help to combat this COVID. So in that case, what we have done is using artificial intelligence in terms of looking at the disease. So we knew right from the start that artificial intelligence can combat COVID, and we gave something to Europe, which was the first artificial intelligence device, which was simply collecting the data. So looking at hotspots, where they are, and then you have got to isolate, sanitizing hands and all that sort of stuff. So that was the start at that time. And the terminal was called iSmart. It was very basic, Obviously here it's quite laid back, but Italians and Germans, they really took advantage of this by looking at, and they controlled the spread of infection by monitoring those hotspots. At that time, to the UK government, we said that, look, there are easiest solution to more complicated problems. And dogs can smell COVID carriers. They can smell cancer carriers. So why don't we do something that develops a sensor which can pick it up? So I worked with Imperial, and we devised some biosensors which could detect COVID. And how it could do it? Because every viral carrier emits certain body odor. And these body odors variates organic compounds in air. And we, as human beings, we don't have that capability to smell it, but dogs can smell it. And so we gave the same dog nose to the terminal. And the only difference was that dogs can get ill by themselves. So the accuracy was around 80%, but with this it was 100% without. So detection was very, very big in this. So then we looked at whatever we were telling to the UK government at that time. This is today is happening, where there are dogs which are on airports and they can smell COVID straight away. So the terminal was doing exactly the same thing, basically. So these were the main features of this terminal. Now, despite of just looking at the hotspots, it was also looking at any COVID carrier. So it used to beep, and so there was some problems associated with GDPR collection of data. So we got rid of the screen, and it was just on voice recognition, basically, the sharing of data. But we never stopped there, because artificial intelligence is something which will continue to evolve, and in medical science in particular. So what we are trying to achieve here is diagnostic booths. And these are something which we are heavily involved with. So these are these booths which will actually detect the diseases. So it will actually complement the work of hospitals, GPs, consultants, because human errors are still there, and what we are trying to do is eradicate those human errors here. So this is AI-powered booths which will interact with the patients. So this is an enclosed space where it will interact and look at what it will do is, in a simple term, look at the patient notes, look at what history of diseases, and compare it in terms of whether it is a new ailment or it is a flare-up of the existing symptoms, or it's a side effect of a drug. So combining all that, it will see whether it's a new disease or it's just a flare-up of symptom, and then it will record it on the database, which will be picked up by the consultants. So it will enhance the community management, and those people which need actual treatment have got to go to the hospital. I mean to say, whatever is happening, NHS is one of the greatest systems in the world. And thank you very much for bringing, whatever is happening.
Thank you, Professor Zulfikar.
Yeah.
I'm just pressed short for time.
Okay.
Would you like to answer the audience? Can you tell us, will AI give us a cure to dementia and other things like dementia?
Exactly, and that's what I was going to talk about, that various things that, as we were mentioning, and my colleague here, we were talking about dementia, that it can be picked up from your eyes, so it will relay the information and look at, what treatments are required for that. So it will do it. Because dementia, again, we have got to see if we pick it.
It is, if I may say, just for 1 second, there were many illnesses
Hmm.
which were uncurable. My mother died with TB in 1950s. There was no cure for TB even, which is now non-existent.
Non-existent, exactly.
Cancer, a few years back, nobody was saved from cancer. So I think the science is proving to be the best God for us.
Exactly, and artificial intelligence is something which is gonna.
I'm going to be more efficient by bringing the microphone to many stars among us. I have many others to speak. However, 1 second, sir. While I was making the tour to reach my phone, someone approached me from the audience and made a pledge to donate to our charity shop. Thank you very much. A fashion model, relative of mine, Turkish, Mr. J, manager of the best Turkish brand in Tottenham Court Road called Lozoni. The floor is yours. Thank you for the donation.
Basically, I'm really pleased to be with you, and so important people and really good speeches. Yes, I'm interior designer and construction company I have, and I have some furnitures which is I can give it, so I'm happy to leave it.
And the name of the company, and I understand it's the biggest in Turkey.
It is one of the biggest one, yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to be advertising. Yeah, thank you. That's fine. So I just want to be myself, and my name is Jayhun. Lovely to meet you guys. 171, but I will give them my details and everything, so all good. Thank you. All right, that's fine. I don't want to be like.
I have also another relative. She's from Libya, and she's the most famous physician. She has a medical degree. She basically injects Botox, cement, some kind of fillers to make ladies look young. Dr. Lamia, the floor is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for this invitation. Thank you for seeing everyone. But also I will add, also now I'm doing anti-aging with NAD+, which is great and a cure for many diseases, and also it's like making the people have a good health and giving them energy, cures like the DNA, which is really great.
So basically, Dr. Lamia...
It's not only, today is not only for...
Dr. Lamia, with her associates, they have managed to find a way to reverse the aging process. 1 minute, because we have someone waiting online. I am honored to present to you the president of the Libyan Jewish community in diaspora, Dr. David Jirbi. He should be appearing momentarily. He's also a religious man. He's a rabbi, and he will speak to us as soon as the satellite is connected. And I will give everyone an opportunity to speak. Thank you, Dr. David, for joining us. His Holiness Rabbi David Jirbi, the President of the Libyan Jews in Diaspora. Thank you.
Good evening to everybody. First of all, I want to thank to my dear brother and also His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Shebani. He has my high consideration, and we both Libyan. He is Muslim and I'm Jewish, but just what I like is just he has been in Rome. He met my mother. He ate the same food. I just recently been in London. He invited me to a dinner, and it was very nice and important. We met also in a conference that I've been invited in the Parliament in London. He was also with us, and he came also in Los Angeles, in San Francisco. So we met in many different occasions. So he invited me to today to talk about, I think that he told me to talk about the story as a Jew in Libya, but also I understood from the program that the subject of this evening is the water, if I understood right. Is this correct, Dr. Ahmed Shebani? Hello? Hello?
Yes, Dr. David, yes.
Okay. So, as we know, we are all coming from a monotheistic religion, and we know that we have in common Abraham, Avraham, that is related to Judaism, Christian, and Islam. So in Christianity, the issue of the water is very important because it's related to baptism in Christianity. So you know that they need to put the water on the head, so in order to become Christian. So, and they have also the holy water in the Christianity. And in Islam, as far as I know, is if I go back to the story of Agar and Abraham, that he has two wives. One it was Sarah, and one was Agar. That later her name change because her name mean Keturah, that is mean perfume, because when she re-meet again after that Sarah died, he met again with Agar. Her name is Keturah because she never went with another man, and this means that she still kept her smell as being pure. He just waited. So, and we know the story of Agar when Abraham say to her and the son, to go away. It was very, very suffering for her and for her son. Ismael, in Hebrew, Ismael is translated Ishmael, the man who listened to God. Israel is mean Israel, the man who saw God. One is about listening and one is about seeing. So they are very much related. But what I want to mention about the water is that we know that suddenly she wanted to die, but the Archangel Gabriel, he came and he showed just a pit, and then she kept alive. So it's a very important in a desert to find the water. So was the first miracle, and then God promised to Agar and Ishmael that they will have such a great number of the people from Islam that you cannot count in the sand of the earth. So this is a very important the symbol of the water. We all know that we pray for the water, because without the water we cannot be alive. We know that the food come from the water, and the water come from God, because it's coming from the sky, from the above us, and is a blessing. When there is no water, there is scarcity, there is no food, there is nothing. The animal will die, the earth will not bear fruits, and we will die. So the water is so important. And we saw this also in the Jewish tradition. Also, I'm sorry, going back, we know the water, how is important, that the Islam people, the Muslim, before they come inside in the mosque, they need to clean their hand and their feet in order to be pure when they go to pray. So you have also special place where to clean your feet and your hands, because the water purify. In the Jewish tradition, we know that the water is used when the woman has the period and need to go first to purify in a mikveh. Mikveh is a special bath that is come from the raining water and need to purify before have intimacy with the husband, because there are 12 days in the month when they have the period of the red blood and the white blood that cannot be close to the husband. But in order to start again, they need to do the mikveh, and there is a special place in every synagogue almost, or near the synagogue, where the women do this. Also, some men do this before they do some sacred act, like the sofer. Sofer is the man who write the Torah. So every time he need to write the name of God, he need to go inside the mikveh and purify himself. Then we have also, when we eat, we need first to wash our hand and we need to make a prayer. Also, we know that the body, when we died, need to be purified by water and then put in a sheet, white sheet, and to put in the earth. We also remember what's happened to Miriam. Miriam was the woman who prayed for the water, and they can find in 40 years in the desert, they could find the water. But after she died, she was the sister of Moses and Aaron. When she died, this stopped. So many problems happen when they find the bitter water. So Moses need to put, this is happening in Jordan, in a place in Jordan. So he need to put a certain wood in order to transform the bitter water to sweet water. But there happen also the water of the Red Sea that is open and create a miracle. Also, Moses had a problem about the water. The reason why Moses never came inside Israel and we don't know where he's buried is because he made the only big mistake. God told him in order to get the water in the desert, because there were 40 days there in the desert, so he needed to touch the rocks. Is written in the Torah. He did not declare the name of God. He did not say, look what God is going to do. So he just touched the rocks with a piece of wood, and he did not say this. So this was his big mistake. And we know that Moses and King David, they were the most humble people in the world. But it was no special discount for him. He needed to pay this mistake because he did not give the importance that was God actually that helped him to get the water. So this was one of the big problem. But we learn how also the water is important in the Jewish tradition when we move from a period that is called Morid Atal, Morid Ageshem. Morid Ageshem is like moving from a period which is summer and spring to the period that is winter and autumn. So we pray, this is very important to distinguish, to have the water on the right time, and we pray to have the water on the right amount. Because if you have the water on the wrong time, you will not have the fruits. If you have too much water on the right time, you will not have the fruits, because it will destroy everything. So also this is a prayer that we have. So also we know that our body is mostly made by water, so the liquid is very important because everything touched by water then can become sacred. So is an element that is important in our tradition. Changing a little bit the subject, I listened to somebody now that was talking as anti-age. So I am a psychoanalyst, I'm a doctor in psychology, and I saw how the people, we all know that we have in our face the largest number of muscle. So we all know that we can somatize if we go against our inner nature, and we can be very violent against ourselves because we do something we don't want to do. We don't respect our feeling and our thinking and our vision of life. So if you want to not to be anti-age, but the opposite, you become very old very fast. You just need to go against your principle, against your value, against your truth, against the respect and the love for yourself. In this way, I can guarantee that you will age very fast. And it's important to respect yourself and the gift of the soul that God gave to each us, which is unique. We are all different. No another Ahmed Shebani will come in the earth like him. Anytime, in any place. We have Ahmed Shebani today and will never happen again. I wish him to live 120 years in a good health. Another things that I want to say that together with Ahmed, we also are committed to promote peace in Middle East and North Africa. And he was an important person that has been invited also to the parliament and has been invited also to Israel. And he was in the museum. So he is very well known and respected person. And I think that he deserves all this. And also I see the activity that he has been done now and is very appreciated. And he has, as I say before, my high consideration. So if you want, I can answer to any question, or if it's the time is enough, so I can just
David, let me just interject here. I would like to put you on the spot. I will borrow the voice of my audience and issue an invitation for you to perform on this stage the magic that you did in San Francisco. Please.
Inshallah, I will do.
The director of UPF is with us, Mr. Robin March. I will plan it among us for you to come to London to make the show, the special show that talks about your journey from the shores of Tripoli to Rome and how painful it was, because you have been a Libyan for over 2,200 years. And this is written in the stones. The stones don't lie. Sadly, in 1967, you were expelled by the late Jamal Abdel Nasser. I don't aspire to his ideology. My role model is our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and definitely not the dictator Jamal Abdel Nasser. So you have a date, you have an invitation. Thank you for accepting. I will sort it out with Mr. Robin March. Once again, on behalf of everyone here, we would like to show an appreciation for your speech. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Please stay along and listen to the forward deliberations. At this juncture, may I invite our learned brother, Mr. Roger, to have the floor. Thank you. Please. I think that's working. Yeah. Is it working?
Ladies and gentlemen, what an honour it is to be invited here by His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Shebani to the Universal Peace Federation and to join everyone here to consider such an important topic. I met many of you in the most generous refreshments stage of this evening, and thank you to all the organisers for such a wonderful welcome and for those refreshments. And so many of you know that I have a military background. In a military conference, you do not often see such a distinguished set of speakers and delivering deliberations with such admirable humility and learning and selflessness. So may I commend the speakers and propose a vote of thanks to His Excellency Dr. Ahmed Shebani and all our speakers for an amazing conference that helped us to think about peace and, of course, the value of water in an individual way, in a way that made us recognize the importance of the water itself, of agriculture, of settlements, of the human condition, and of our health. So will you please join me and thank Dr. Ahmed Shebani and all the speakers in the usual way.
Thank you. I know I have kept you waiting, but as you can see, we have a direct WhatsApp. Feel free to make a note of it. And if you send a message on WhatsApp, I can synchronize the collection time. And we have our address. It's number 7, Porchester Gardens, Queensway, literally around the corner from Marks & Spencer on Queensway. I'll be happy to receive your physical donations. Now I come to a serious part where someone will talk about his book, and it's called Memory Lane. His journey from the BBC to this point, to this stage. Before, I used to suffer from insomnia, and what used to put me in bed is the shipping forecast of the BBC Channel 4. Somehow, it plays into my ears like the recitation of the Quran, and it puts me to sleep. And sadly, after the appearance of Al Jazeera, somehow the BBC is no longer in the #1 position. I think truth is not there nor here. It's somewhere over there. Please, without further ado, Professor Abdul Razzaq, the most learned Egyptian journalist in London. Welcome.
Good evening. Thank you, Ahmed, for this very good introduction. Although I didn't come here to talk about my book, which will be in 6 months' time, it will be Memory Lane, about my journey at the BBC Arabic service since 1986 till 2011. And it gives me pleasure to talk to you about water. Mr. Ahmed gave me the choice for 5 minutes to talk about any topic, anything. And I was about to talk about the Arabic language, decline of Arabic language among the second and third generation, because it's fading now, sort of like a demise of the language. But when I read the title of this seminar, sort of workshop, and it's about water, I was intrigued by the title. First of all, I'm not a priest, I'm not a sheikh, I'm not imam, I'm not a scientist. This is why when I'm going to talk, I'm talking from purely a language point of view in terms of the water in the Quran. The Quran actually summed up all what we have heard, and it's very difficult to come after all these learned people and all these great speakers before me. وَجَعَلْنَا مِنَ الْمَاءِ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ حَيٍّ, that we made everything alive out of water. And this is umbrella of everything we have been hearing today. Allow me to read, because I wrote it in Arabic actually. So I was intrigued, but I'll do it in English, of course. So the healing power of water is mentioned in the Holy Quran in various verses, highlighting its importance as a source of life. Not only source of life, purification, and a blessing from Allah. While the Quran does not explicitly describe water as a medicine. It's never been mentioned as a medicine in the Quran, as in modern terms. It emphasizes its spiritual, physical, and purifying properties, which can be linked to its healing nature. Water as a source of life and healing. Allah described water as the essence of life and divine gift. And the Quran says, and we made from water every living thing. And this is the umbrella I was talking about that sums up everything we have been hearing tonight. So this verse emphasizes the vital role of water in sustaining all forms of life. Its healing and nourishing properties stem from its life-giving nature. Water as purification. Water is linked to both physical and spiritual purification in Islam. And he sent down water from the sky to purify you and remove the pollution of Satan, to strengthen your hearts and make your steps firm. This is Allah's saying. So this verse highlights the cleansing power of water, which extends beyond the physical to include spiritual purification and inner healing. Rain as a healing mercy. In Islam, we have something called Salatul Istisqa, which you make prayer for water to come down, and this is very much appreciated, especially in arid areas or areas where there is, drought and everything. And so they make these prayers in Saudi Arabia so often because the lack of water there. And some people were joking that we pray for water to come down in Saudi Arabia, but it doesn't. It falls down in India, because most of the people who perform prayers are Indian, Pakistani Muslims, not Arabs. So this is a joke. Sorry for the joke, but rain is often described as a mercy and blessing from Allah, which rejuvenates the earth and restores balance. And we send down blessed water from the sky, then we reduce thereby gardens and the grain for harvest. Rain's role in reviving the earth symbolizes healing, as we have been hearing today, and renewal, aligning with the concept of water as a source of restoration. Water in paradise. Water is a recurring theme in descriptions of paradise, symbolizing eternal peace and tranquility. In it are rivers of water unaltered, rivers of milk whose taste does not change, rivers of wine delicious to those who drink, and rivers of purified honey. This is what being said in Surah Muhammad. The imagery of flowing rivers evokes a sense of eternal healing, abundance, and well-being. Scientific perspective in light of the Quran. Modern science validates the healing aspect of water, such as its role in hydration and detoxification, wound cleansing, and promoting physical recovery. The calming effects of flowing in water, which align with its spiritual and meditative role in the Quran. I'll end by a story which is related to one of the most patient person on earth, and you must know him. He's a great prophet. And in the Quran, there is a verse called هَذَا مُغْتَسَلٌ بَارِدٌ وَشَرَابٌ, which translates as, this is a cold bath and a drink. It refers to the miraculous water that Allah provided to Prophet Ayub. Ayub is Job, yeah? Job Job, peace be upon him. And he is the most patient person on earth, as a matter of healing. The water served two purposes: a cool bath for external, which is to purify his body in a way, and healing of his physical ailments. Number two, a drink for internal healing and revitalization. This phrase highlights Allah's mercy and the dual nature of the water as a source of both physical and spiritual rejuvenation. So this story actually is very important in all actually holy books, not only in the Quran, but he suffered a lot for years and years and years. Then Allah asked him to, or brought out a spring in water and asked Ayub to drink from it, and he was purified. Recently, I've been hearing that the healing power of cold water. If you suffer from anything, don't go for hot water. And even there is so many privileges for having cold shower. Even in Russia, they dip the babies into the snow or ice, and even every now and then they take these baths. And it's very, very important, and because it has a healing power. They rarely get flu or cold because they are using. So the scientifically speaking, the cold water is very important, and actually came in so many of the speeches, and the Right Honorable Rabbi from Libya. This is really important, and there is advice in Islam that don't overuse water, even if you are doing this pollution or on a river. So it is very important. I hope that modern times wars will be around water, unfortunately. So this is very important to keep this source intact, so as we all share the blessings of Allah. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I would like to make an announcement. I'm planning to clone this event around Easter time, and it will be entitled The Power of Light. And I will share with you an African prayer. May the light be with you wherever you go. Ameen. Please raise your hand if I did not offer you the opportunity to speak, because I mean, if anybody needs to discover a talented film producer, director, Mr. Olivier. Thank you. His father, Mr. Milad, was a very close friend of mine from Egypt. And I used to call him Mimo. He is the most talented architect in the Arab world. He has done very important landmarks in Egypt and in Paris, in Italy. I have never met a generous person like your father, never. So his memory lives on. May his soul rest in eternal peace. Ameen. Thank you for helping me. Mr. Brother Atul, you wanted to add something. You raised your hand.
I was just supporting Mr. Khan, because he was saying that all these Americans are useless, but there's a useless American sitting over here who is actually AI. You know what he's done? He's turned ECG, the readings, into a biomarker. And he's built a company which is FDA approved, supported by Mayo Clinic, supported by the top US banks, and I think he needs to talk about 2 minutes. I mean, he's the king. He's literally someone who's...
I never said Americans are useless.
But I just wanted to get everyone's attention. I used your shoulder.
I'll speak from here. No, so thank you, Atul, for the introduction. Yeah, I mean, I think it's not that surprising, I guess, right? Because in many ways, your heart is the soul to everything. And the fact that the electrical signal of the heart, which is measured through your ECG, has a lot more information than we've ever imagined, and AI can now unlock that information, is almost natural. It isn't something that should be very shocking. ECGs... Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of something like dementia, that's probably possible. But I think at the end of the day, your heart's electrical signal is the ultimate determiner of life and death. It's the first signal that someone's alive. It's also the last signal that someone's not alive. So the fact that we can use that signal to determine not just what we've been using it for a century, and used primarily to detect things like palpitations, arrhythmias, detect things like myocardial infractions, which are heart attacks, can now be used for a lot more. So, for example, we are using it to detect something called aortic stenosis, which typically you needed to do using echocardiograms, which is a much more expensive technology than an ECG. An ECG is available on your Apple Watch. An echocardiogram in the US costs an average of $2,000. So a lot of times people don't find this disease until post-mortem. 50% of aortic stenosis is found in people after they've passed away. But if you can detect it using a $10 ECG, it makes a huge difference. The same thing with something called hyperkalemia, which is high potassium levels in the blood. Almost 50% of patients that have dialysis that die do not die of not finding a kidney. They die of the fact that they get a fatal arrhythmia, a cardiac arrest essentially, which is a lot of times triggered by high potassium in the blood. If you're on dialysis, you go to dialysis 3 times a week, but what happens between those 3 times, you still have to be monitored. It's very, very hard to do today. If that can be done with something as simple as your heart's electrical signal, that potentially saves millions of lives. So ultimately, what we're doing isn't really magic. It's just the fact that for the first time, we have something that can look at data at a level of fidelity that no human expert can potentially look at. A simple 250 hertz ECG signal probably contains 10,000 data points in about 10 seconds. That's a lot of information. That's information that no single cardiologist or even a team of cardiologists can do anything with. But with the power of computers and artificial intelligence, we can glean a lot more information on it than really ever imagined. And that's essentially what we're using to try and honestly save human lives and change outcomes. And ironically, my father passed away of an arrhythmia about 4 or 5 months ago. Yeah. Thank you. And it's not that this technology could have saved him, because ultimately I think what took him was his time. There was nothing more that we could have done at that point. But it's ironic that he was being treated for the same condition that our technology now can diagnose. But nonetheless, I think we're at a point where, hopefully this type of technology, the technology that was spoken about earlier by the doctor as well, can help find conditions much earlier and can lead to interventions much earlier than otherwise possible. Health systems around the world, not just the NHS, but systems in the US, systems in India, everywhere, are being stretched to a point where I think AI is no longer going to be a nice to have. It's going to be an imperative. So just to give you a sense, for every individual in the UK, there's I think about 20,000, there's one cardiologist for about 20,000 people in the UK. That's coverage that's impossible to keep up with. In the US, it's even worse. It's one cardiologist to 100,000 people. In India, it's much worse than that. It's one cardiologist to every 250,000 people. So in a world where our healthcare professionals are being stretched to the limits and more, you can't really, and especially as the world gets older, most of the world outside of Africa and India is getting older. As the world gets older, you need to monitor these people. You need to intervene faster. How is that going to happen without the aid of something like AI? So I think we're entering an era where AI in healthcare is not a nice to have. It's going to be a necessity, and we companies like ours hopefully can make it really happen and make it into something that ultimately saves lives and improves people's not just their lives but the lives of their loved ones as well. Thank you.
I'm so happy you continue the legacy of your late father, but an inverted way, because he is the most famous Indian doctor who served humanity for over 60 years. May his soul rest in peace. But you're doing it from the technology side of things. Thank you. Now, I guess my relative, she got offended and she left because I said I describe her as she dumped concrete in the ladies' faces to make them look attractive and young. And with slightly more aspect of vanity, may I have the pleasure to introduce Mr. Pipi, former Gurkha from a very special country, Nepal. He's the owner of Miss World. He orbits about that kind of I'm trying to choose a polite word to describe Miss World, but I lost for words. Vanity. Glamour. So thank you for continuing to produce this show, which ideologically I have issues with it, because beauty comes in all shapes, you know. What's important is character. And I glide along from you to an artist that wakes me up every morning with an inspirational message, Sister Seema. Her art is mainly commissioned by psychiatric units, so you understand why I like your art, and it calms me down, it heals my anxiety. Thank you. Would you like to give us some words, please?
Oh, no, I wasn't prepared for this at all.
What made you paint?
And in a calling I used to paint when I was very young, and then life happened, and for many years I didn't. And then during COVID, I had a calling to paint, so I just picked up the brush and started painting. And supposedly my art is healing. My art, wherever it's gone to, has made a difference to people's lives, and they feel much more at peace, they feel healthier. And I believe it's just the vibrations of my painting that heal people. And
there was one in particular, the one you showed in Chelsea design show.
yeah, it's still over there if anybody wants to see it.
I looked at it and I said, this is a beautiful, the Virgin Mary. I thought you are an Indian, like you follow the Indian faith. She said, yes, I'm an Indian. But I said, when I look at this image, I see the Virgin Mary. I said, everyone says that, but I just drew whatever comes to my mind.
Yes, it is. I mean, that's what I felt also. It's definitely the Virgin Mary that came through. I channel my art. I never know what I'm painting till I actually finish it. So to me, that was Virgin Mary. But I just want to touch up on the water aspect of it. And that lovely lady was talking about the healing power of water. I do water rituals every day, daily. I mean, the first thing I wake up is my glass of water is ready, and I speak into it, and really lovely words of, I am beautiful, I am wonderful, I'm healthy, I'm at peace. I speak all these words to the water, and then I drink that water. I also do a water ritual in my shower. And very often, most evenings, I sit down watching television, Netflix, and to relax, and I soak my feet in warm water with Himalayan salt. So I do a lot of water healing myself, and I know it really helps. And water is such an important element for our day-to-day lives. So, I mean, I would suggest to everyone to do some form of ritual with water every day, because it actually listens, because our body is made of water mostly.
Absolutely. Thank you, Ms. Stephen. This is a gift to you. It's a special water donated to us by Her Excellency Duchess Naveen Al Jamal, the mother of His Royal Highness Sheikh Saeed bin Ahmed Al Maktoum of Dubai. She brings this water from a special source somewhere in the United Kingdom, and apparently that place has a reference for the chakra of love. May love be with you.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you.
And if I glide along, this young lady, a counselor, and she has done so much to prevent stabbing and to address the crime in our streets. Recently, I lost my iPhone. I was in Cricklewood. I went to the charity shop to buy something, a belt for my brother Akram, and sadly my phone has disappeared. And I was so depressed. Honestly, I stayed like 2 weeks indoors. I couldn't go out because somehow the iCloud wasn't uploading. And then my adopted daughter in Saudi Arabia, her name is Mayrim Zahrani. She works for the Ministry of culture. She said, Ahmed, why are you down? I said to her, I lost my phone and I'm so upset. The police can't do anything. And what really bothers me is the memory in the phone. She said, that's all? I can help you. I said, how? I said, I've always suspected that you're a CIA. She said, I'll teach you how. She said, write a message to all your friends. Tell them you've lost your phone and you've lost the memory because the iCloud wasn't picking up. And if you have exchanged any videos or any pictures, ask them to send it back to you. Wallahi, I swear to you, in less than 1 week, I got more than what I had. Someone gave me a picture 45 years ago. His Excellency Sheikh Abdullah Sayhati, who has been appointed as a peace ambassador by Mr. Robin March, he lives in Al Khobar. He actually sent me a photo 45 years ago with him. We were attending a concert at the Grosvenor House of a very, very important Lebanese singer, Najwa Karam. So, sister, I know you did not prepare, but tell me what you do at grassroots level, especially for the youth. How you make them have self-pride and walk away from life of crime.
Thank you so much for allowing me to speak, and greetings and a very good evening to everybody that is gathered here. As we know, the theme is about water and the healing power, and in life, that's all we can hope is that people are healed emotionally, physically and spiritually, especially the youth. The youth that we call the Z organization, because they're the Z group and they lack empathy. I don't know why they lack empathy, but it's important that we train the young people and teach them, because they lack social skills. They lack engagement. And this is what I do. Help young people to able to engage, because young people nowadays, they don't know how to communicate and say, I am sorry, and engage and forgive and turn their back and move on. They just want to get rid of you. They don't understand the value of life. So what I do, the programs that I do, and I go to schools and I go to colleges as I'm invited in my community, and even nationally and internationally, I do some work, even in Gambia, online and so forth, and around youth, because they are the future of our tomorrow. They are our doctors of tomorrow. They are the ones we're supposed to give hope. So if we don't give hope to them, then we ourselves, we will lack care, because they're the ones going to be our carers. And they're supposed to be our carers, so don't forget them. And it's not easy. Mothers who are single without the father at the home, in the home, and externally, it sure is not easy. And I know as a female, most people may think, oh, again, another female is talking, another female is engaging, because our young men, they need men, they need fathers. Fathers are foundation. We mustn't forget it. Fathers are foundation, and we need to encourage the fathers to engage with the youth. And that's what I do. I help to communicate and organize skills, social skills, which is so important. And that is a key thing. Social skills, how to talk and communicate and show love and show empathy, because that is key. And if we don't do this, we are going to lose generation. And don't forget, because of COVID, we lost a group of young people who has mental health issues, because they lack that communication, that coming together. Schools are having a great problem. I'm telling you, I'm aware of this. I'm engaging with a lot of young people. They find it hard to do school 5 days a week now. They just can't do it. It's just too much. They're just on their phone. So let us hope, and as we continue to do, yes, I surely believe in water, the power of water. I've been doing it for so long. I cannot believe when I heard, and you sent me the invitation, without reading it through, I accepted it. You know why? Because it touched me, because I know I believe it. It's something that I've been using. It's something that I use when I sometimes go around to hospitals and I will pray for others, because I do chaplaincy as well. I will say to somebody, I receive it. I receive it. Thank you. I receive it from her with love. Thank you. Water is so powerful. In Africa, water has been denied to the people. Instead, it's been thrown to the miners, and then they're killing themselves, and the youth do not have water. As I hold this water, whatever I'm saying and transcending, it receive it. And it will give me back what I'm giving to it. And we must give water love. Please continue. If you see me online or anything, give me a thumbs up if you see me as I do things for the young people. You just see me as Aline Alaris. I'm just there on Facebook. ALEEN ALARICE. Aline Alaris. And
I will share it with all.
yeah, and you'll see me, and I do various things, and I send out various things, and keep me in your prayers.
We need
Thank
people
you.
like you at grassroots level.
Yeah.
You keep our community intact. So please continue the good work.
I appreciate you. Thank you.
Thank you. God bless you. You know, I live across the road from the most powerful police station in the land. It's called Paddington Green. It has 15 floors above ground, 15 floors below ground. Sadly, they demolished it and they sold it to a Chinese developer. I think all the police stations are being sold as real estate. So about a year ago, my sick brother, Akram, he has no capacity. He went to a shawarma shop, Abu Afif, opposite the post office in Edgware Road, literally across the road from Paddington Green. And he could not communicate properly. So someone comes and beat him quite badly. He had a blue eye. I mean, it was a disaster. So when I saw Akram, I was shocked. I couldn't believe. And I said, Akram, who hit you? He said, it's this restaurant. So I came, I said, why did you hit this man? This man is disabled, mentally disabled. And everyone, doesn't want to talk. So I went to the hairdresser around the corner, a Tunisian, I know. I said, who beat my brother? I don't know. I checked with the street cleaner, who hit Akram? I called the police. Literally, I had to beg them. I said, can you please come and look at the camera? I just want to see who hit him. So I will explain to him, next time, please don't, because this man is vulnerable. So to cut a long story short, the police eventually decided to come and see me. They decided not to see me in the venue. They say, for your own safety. I said, no, but I've been there. I spoke to the owner. They said, no, come and meet us at Coffee Nero at the entrance of Edgware Road Tube Station. So I went there. Akram was with me. They could physically see he was bruised, kicked. He had a black eye. And they've done nothing. After 6 months, they closed the case. And I kept, I said, this is not right. I kept asking all the shops in the near vicinity, and no one tells me anything. Till when? Till about 3 months ago. That person had an altercation with a Sudanese customer. He beat him so badly that the Sudanese man lost his balance. He fell and cracked his neck. He stayed in coma about 3 months in St. Mary's and he passed away. So just last week, they told me, don't worry, they caught him now. He's actually the son of the owner. I said, but it's too late. Had you told me 1 year ago, we could have prevented this death. And I'm sorry to tell you, on average, every 3 months, someone is getting stabbed in my neighborhood, honestly. Across from me, there is a college called Westminster College. In front of me, every 6 months, someone is stabbed. The lady who works in the tea room, she said to me, I live in Shoreditch, which has a lot of nightclubs and people on chemicals and so on. She said, I feel safer there than coming to this college because of the amount of knifing. It is unbelievable. I mean, recently, a boy at the tender age of 18 from Kurdistan was stabbed outside the college. He's the only son for his mom. Can you imagine? His mother still comes, she buys coffee Costa, still sits on the pavement, and she talks with her son as he's still alive. So please continue what you do. And God bless you. We need this kind of community cohesion. We need to address these issues and need to ask for help. We need to support each other. Her Holiness, the late Mother Teresa, she said in an important symposium actually in Turkey before she died, she asked them, what is the number one killer? Everyone said heart attack, cancer, and so on. She said, no, it's loneliness. So I'm honored to have the rabbi, the counselor of Stamford Hill with us. Thank you very much for attending. I know... Huh? Ameen. Thank you. This is the true message of the late Reverend Father Moon, is that we are one human family under the Lord. And it gives me such a pleasure to look at this human mosaic. Now I want to amplify a little bit the light on a very specialized human being, very powerful person. And you have caused us a lot of damage to Mother Earth, too much. He is the most renowned expert in hydrocarbon sector. Honestly, he is. He built NOC of Libya. He built Sonatrach of Algeria, of Kuwait, Aramco in Saudi Arabia. And I don't know, someone made a reference about there is a life somewhere else, because recently they discovered when they went very deep in the sea, they found more oxygen. So oxygen is being omitted out of metal. So this gives a clear indication that there is life in another planet. And personally, I know there is a book called The Law of Attraction, which made millions, but I follow a prophet saying of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which says that تفاءلوا خير تجدوه, which means when you think positive, it will manifest in your life. And as Duchess Naveen has mentioned, and Mr. Atul, that in 5 days from now, we have an alignment of the planets, and it will be the strongest connection for us to call upon the power of attraction. And you know when it's the best time to do so? Momentarily before you sleep. Momentarily before you sleep, say in your mind the things that you want to happen, and you will be shocked. Things in the universe conspire for things to happen for you, really. And when they happen, don't talk about them. So how, I mean, I'm really glad that the power of the United States of America, they have the power to switch on, to press the button, switch on and switch off. So I'm happy today they switch off Gaza. I hope after tomorrow they switch off Ukraine. I really pray for that. And I hope no other president will come that will press the button again. You know, we want to live in peace. We want to develop this planet so we can have a beautiful life for all of us. Professor Muhammad, what is the alternative to hydrocarbon?
Nothing really.
Nothing. Oh my God.
Without it, we couldn't live. Honestly. But still, we have a lot of energy still in the ground. Less than 10% of what the oil and gas in the ground. So the war, the next war is going to be because of the gas, hydrocarbon, yes.
I mean, I'm thinking that because the global warming has manifested itself in the fire in Los Angeles, flooding everywhere. So we must be intelligent creatures. I think the damage that humanity has done in the last 20 years to Mother Earth is worse what has been going on for the last 2,000 years.
Well, if you believe in God, actually, this is the reason, actually. People thinking what happened to America is because the way they acting in the whole war against us.
No, I don't believe in that.
No, it is. Because actually what the things was showing in
Doctor, I have to, because, you know, this conference is projected on YouTube, and we have already been flagged. So we have to be very politically correct, and we mustn't say things which are not factual. I think that global warming is a reality. Global warming needs scientists, needs intelligent people to address. And 14 years ago, I had a dream following the sponsorship of my brother, Mr. Robin March. I saw Berlin Wall collapsed on the 17th of July 2011, and I have decided to transport the political ideology that I've lived in for the last 45 years here back to my country, Libya. So I gave birth to the first political party in Libya on the 14th of July 2011 from this stage. And you know what? Our late Hitler, our late dictator, in his last speech, he mentioned us. He said, you wait and see. Now you have a political party called the Democratic Party coming from London. And sadly, the sense of power that he had, because he had more than 350 billion US dollars in assets, he decided to change his name from a colonel to a leader. And the last thing that could satisfy his ego, he chose to choose a name, a divine name. He called himself King of Kings. And the young man who discovered him in the sewage pipe at the tender age of 16 is my first cousin. His name is Ahmed Shebani. So can you imagine, the strongest man in land will be finished by the weakest link in society? There is a message. This is a divine message that people need to be in control, you know. You mustn't have too much of that. At the same time, I decided to write a very controversial article, very provocative article, it's all factual, about corruption in Libya. And no one could publish it. And I'm the ugliest politician in Libya. I received so many death threats. I'm similar to Salman Rushdie because I call for the separation of mosque and state. And the only courageous journalist who managed to publish my article is this young lady here from Turkey. I mean, it was published in Turkish, but at least it's there. Thank you. One word, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Abed. Yes. Well, basically, I wish it would bring much more voice, much more. Well, there was interest, so we can be happy about that.
Having the courage to do so, because the sites that I published in for the last 15 years, they refused. They said no. It has been edited by Professor Abdulrazak, and he said, Ahmed, you're picking up a fight with the wrong people. Stop it. He actually advised me not to publish it, but they did. It's up there online.
Thank you for that. This is mostly about water, and obviously I don't have much to say about that. It is not my expertise. And after all that interesting talks about on that enlightened people, so thank you for everything. The only thing I can add, perhaps a bit of information, although it is probably touristic information, being from Turkey, we have a massive amount of, unfortunately, not properly used under earth waters, healing waters. And although I haven't used it myself, I talked to many people, and many can swear on it for skin problems, to arthritis, any kind of rheumatism, slip discs, to any kind of physical. So that's only a wish. I wish some percentage of it, more than they use today, should be put in good use, and there would be not only the tourism industry, but many healing-related medical use for it. So let's just hope.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Your Holiness, this is special water for you from Mecca. Zamzam water. Pleasure. Yes, please.
Actually, Germans, they are looking at it, the use of water to combat cancer. Because there is a German scientist, he has discovered a way. Because first of all, nobody dies of cancer. They die because of complication of cancer. And somehow he has devised a way which is called anti-angiogenesis, cutting the supply of blood to that organ from the tumor. So if tumor dies, then you're saved, basically. So yeah.
You know, it's very interesting about tumor. I actually believe that cancer is triggered by supernatural thing, because I was with my friend who had cancer in Germany. I stayed like 3 months with him in the most powerful hospital in Germany, in a city called Heidelberg. There's more than 16,000 people work in that hospital. And the professor that was looking after him, his name is Professor Blinken. He said, if you manage to create a paradigm shift where your body becomes an alkaline, never cancer will grow. So you need to eat things that will make your body definition alkaline. Google that and follow that. And I think as married couples, sometimes we quarrel and there's tensions in relationship. I think it can be cured by vitamins, because we live in London, we are deprived from natural sunlight. This increases cortisone. So mitigate the risk of mood swings. I strongly advise you to take magnesium, vitamin D, and to make sure that you have a healthy diet in order not to have any issues in marriage and in partnership. This is a special gift donated to us by Miss World, actually. She's Miss Colombia, honestly. Her name is Camilla, Miss World for 2024. She's based in Paris, and this is a special sacred water from Ladour. And in Islam, we have a technique of spiritual purification. You just need to do 5 things and read them 7 times. You read Surah Al-Fatiha on the water, and you read Surah Al-Kursi and Al-Ma'wadat. قل هو الله أحد قل أعوذ برب الفلق قل أعوذ برب الناس. Only 5. You repeat them 7 times to the water and you drink it. It will get rid of anything negative, because the human being is not just the physical, is the mind, is the body, and the soul. So with this, sister, a special gift from Miss World to you. God bless you. Thank you. Pleasure. Thank you. Now I will come to close the conference, and I will write you by WhatsApp. And I ask you to, I will send you the date when I choose the next conference, and I will call it Healing with the Power of Light. I will choose it around Easter time. And may I take this opportunity to thank the director of UPF, Mr. Robin March. And thank you. Thank you for giving me sponsorship 25 years ago. Thank you for awarding me the title of Peace Ambassador. And I was quite astonished when about 6 months ago, you called me and you did not know. You said, Ahmed, you are invited to celebrate the 30 years of the Channel Tunnel. And he didn't know that I was a young engineer with Scott Wilson Kirkpatrick, wallahi, at Basingstoke, and I worked on that project. And I was honored to go with them and to give a speech. And we had people coming from UPF branch in France, and we met. That's why my belief, there is no such thing as a coincidence. Everything is destiny. And I will reiterate myself, may the light be with you, wherever you go. Ameen. Would you like to add anything, Mr. Robin? Yes, please. And please, don't feel shy to speak about Mr. Robin. This room is available. This is the most grand, opulent ballroom in central London with high ceiling at nominal fees. Please, the foundation is in need for revenue. So if you want to have birthdays, wedding, receptions, anything, this is the man to talk to. Thank you.
Thank you. So we have a few events coming up. On next Saturday from midday, we have an art and culture event. So there's poetry from a Pakistani poet, there's Nepali artist and author, there's a soprano singer from Italy. So we have a range of cultural contributions from 12 to 3 right here. On the 28th, it's a touch early for World Interfaith Harmony Week, which is usually the first week in February. And it was an initiative of the Crown Prince of Jordan, I understand. We've regularly supported the World Interfaith Harmony Week around the world, UPF branches, and We're going to do something a little bit early because we usually do something on the last Tuesday of the month. So on the 28th, which is the last Tuesday, we're going to have an interfaith event on pathways to peace, interfaith contribution. And currently we have 3 speakers. Paul Guttridge, I don't know if you know him he's a person who does de-risking. In other words, making radical or extremist groups less radical by creating forums, by bringing people together, by building trust. So a wonderful person. But he's going to speak, and a couple of others. Sheikh Ramzi is going to speak, and there's a Hindu lady, Mita Joshi, Reverend. She has another name now. She's an interfaith chaplain, but also a Hindu speaker. She's going to speak. But if anyone else is representing a particular faith would like to speak, please talk to me. And on February 8th, we have a one-day seminar here on principles of peace. So it's a Saturday. Anyway, so great to see you all, and so lovely to see new people coming here. I've loved your contributions today. It's been wonderful. And Ahmed is so amazing. He's got an amazing group of friends, and he can very eloquently, enthusiastically pull them in. It's wonderful. Okay. Please, a round of applause for Ahmed. Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You can blow this to declare the conference is closed.
Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Just before, I would like to give this young lady this special book. It's called The Power of Respect. It's a gift. It's published by Her Excellency Nabil Al-Gamal. And once again, there are plenty of things to keep in mind. I just want to make a last description of this image. On the left, the late Reverend Father Moon, and on the right, Her Royal Highness the Princess from Darfur, from Sudan. Her family built the famous mosque in Finsbury Park. Her name is Hajar. She's not with us. She's downstairs because she's a big helper. She will do anything, seriously. She makes sure every event runs smoothly. And we had an event here in Ramadan. I did iftar as a blessing for the soul of my late father. And we had the very famous Arab chorale playing here. And we invited this Yemeni lady. Her name is Fatima. Fatima came 60 years ago to this country, and she learned law, and she decided to specialize in criminology. So she practiced as a criminal lawyer for over 50 years. And I mentioned to her that I have this vision to open a charity shop, because she had a restaurant on Queensway. It's called Couscous House, a Moroccan restaurant. And during COVID, it's closed. And she said, fine, Ahmed, you can have the keys, but it's very messy. You know, it has been stripped off and so on. Take your time. So she came with her stick and she gave me the keys. And I said to her, do you know what name I will give to this charity shop for UPF? She said, no. I said, Basira. She started to cry. Do you know why she started to cry? Because she was born blind. And Basira is divine vision. So can you imagine that this lady, the Yemeni lady, who's incidentally half Egyptian, her mother is Egyptian, now she's in Egypt. She had to do a procedure. Unfortunately, she couldn't wait in the waiting list here, so she flew to do a medical procedure in Egypt. She is 84 years of age, and she still faces the day. Every day, it's a brand new day.
I will convey on your behalf a special message, and I will share with you her email. If you can write her a small note of thanking, I will very much appreciate that. Thank you. Please don't feel shy. There is plenty of food downstairs. Eat and take with you home. All of it is vegetarian. Please.